welcome to Customizer Showcase. We haven't done one of these in a good while. Since December was our last one we did. We interviewed Nico.
Yeah.
The showcase is where we sit down with other customizers in the community. We talk to them, showcase some of their artwork, their figures, and discuss just basically discussing talk shop and really cool stuff everybody's working on, and just kind of showcase all the different artists in their community. Like give a little spotlight to other people, and there's so many great people in our community. We can actually but so many people don't get to see them. So I figured this was Hulk Smash's ideal to do these to start up with, and I really enjoy these. Get to talk to everybody, and how everybody gets started. And I'm rambling, and our guest tonight is Customs by Matchu. Welcome and thank you.
Thank you guys. Appreciate it. How's everyone tonight?
Not bad.
We're doing good.
Excellent.
Pretty stoked.
It's pretty early here still, so it's weird for the sun to still be out while I'm live streaming.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite a bit of time difference. It's like when I fall asleep on your streams.
I understand. I would too.
It's after midnight. Yours starts at midnight for me. So
I know it's late.
Well, it's funny though, because we're in the same country, and I got the same time. I'm in the same time zone as Collector here. So it's it's just so weird.
I'm originally from Ontario, Hulk Smash. So I'm originally from Windsor.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
I've been in Toronto my whole life. Now I'm basically on the Mississauga-Brampton border.
Nice. Yeah, I'm actually heading back that way in August. So I'm going to go to Fan Expo on August 24th. So I'll be in the GTA area for 3 days or 4 days around Fan Expo. So
you want to hear something funny? All the years that I lived right there, college in Dufferin, over 30 years I lived there, and I never went to one Fan Expo yet.
Oh, really? This is the first time going to Toronto. I've been to Vancouver's, and it sucks. It's small, and it's not exciting. So, yeah.
I'm a big Transformers fan, too. It's like, I ended up, several years back, I went to the TFCon in Toronto.
Oh, nice.
And didn't even realize Hulk Smash was just a little bit away from where I was at.
Yeah, exactly.
It's fun when you get to meet up with other people in the community. Like last weekend's J-Shot from Between Two Sentinels was in Vancouver. He was catching like a cruise, like a Disney cruise to Alaska.
Oh, nice.
And while he was here, we got to connect. So I brought him to like this really cool toy shop out here. And we got to hang out for like 4 or 5 hours. And it was pretty fun, man. I had a great time. So, but it's fun how like you can watch someone week to week, or like, stay up with them on what they do online. And then you meet them in person, and it's like you feel like you already have a relationship with them, even though it's the first time you've ever met them.
Oh, yeah. I've done that too with like meetings. There's other YouTubers I've watched for years, and like I'm just start talking to them about stuff they talk about all the time. It's like, then I stop myself. It's like, right, I don't actually know this person.
That's one of the best things about this community, though.
Oh yeah.
What we all love so much, it brings us together in so many ways, and we don't even know it. It's like you get to meet someone, and it's like all of a sudden. Yep. It's not a first time, even though it is. Like, it doesn't feel like a first time, right? So,
absolutely. There's such a passion in our hobby, so it's kind of easy to get taken up into. Like when you meet somebody that's like has similar interests, and you're like, oh, I should make sure that.
Yeah, it's nice to talk with like-minded people. You know what I mean? It's like
absolutely,
because realistically, a lot of us I work for transit out here in Brampton, so it's like I don't go to work. I got there's over 1,000 drivers, and I don't get to talk shop with any of these guys. You hang out with them every day, whatever. But then you go online, and me and Collector Express here, we've been over 2 decades. We've known each other, right? I feel like more of like a friendship with somebody who's like-minded compared to people you see every day. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So,
I always say
we've known each other for about 20 years, but we've never met in person.
Yeah.
Hopefully one day, man, because it is really cool when you get to. I have a friend who I made a custom for in a Secret Santa one, like when I first started customizing, or like I think it was like the third year maybe. And once I got the address, I saw that he was in BC too. I was like, oh, cool. Like he's far. He's like 12 hours away. So we don't really see each other much. But he came to town one time for training for work, and we got to hang out for the day. And like it was so cool. It was so fun. And we're like, super close, right? Like we chat every single day, and it's just like you were just saying, is like you see your friends, your work friends, and your outside of the hobby friends. It's like I'd rather hang out with like my hobby friends that I talk to online more than I would with my like real friends, right? Like,
well, it's funny. We had a showcase when I guess it was our first showcase with Enough Said Customs. You've probably seen his work on Instagram.
Yep, I know his. Yep.
Yeah. So like the funny thing is, I've known of his work for so many years. And then one day got to talking, and I saw a post of his, and it's like he was looking for a piece, and I'm thinking, okay, let me see where this guy's located, because I got some of the stuff he's looking for, and I looked, and he had a couple of loose pieces, so I'm like, oh, let me see where he is, and I see he's like Mississauga. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, he's literally like 10 minutes away from me. I had no idea. All these years of looking at this guy's customs online, never really saying anything. And then it's like he actually moved closer. He's actually moved into Brampton, and now he's about a 5-minute drive away from me. So now it's like great. I'll go bring my wife to work on a Saturday morning. I'll give him a call. I'm coming by with coffee, and we just sit on his driveway, and we just talk about everything, movies, he's a big Snyderverse fan, so it's like we talk about all that stuff, and we talk about then when it comes to the customs and all that. So it's so cool. Like, I mean, you can get lost in the conversation and you don't even realize how long you're there, right?
Yep, absolutely. That's the thing. Even with the live streams, though, you start talking, right? And it's just like, all right, well, it's been 2 hours, and you're like, what?
Yeah, we know about that.
Yeah, we have a thing for that. Let's see.
Yeah.
2 hours later.
Well, one of the things we do too with the showcases, we showcase some of your artwork, your customs. If you want to, we can go ahead and start showing some of those off, and
yeah, sure.
You want to talk about some of those, and
sure.
You have so many great pieces.
Thanks, man. I mean, I've been doing it for a long time. I'm in the similar boat as you, right? Like, I know we haven't talked forever, but I remember your name from the Foosh forums. That's where I lived for the first like 5 years of my customizing career, right? Yeah. So like I remember your handle on there, and you always being very open to sharing how you did your work. So
exactly.
Yeah.
That's why I've always been like anybody needs help them. It's like I've always been open to share like tips and anything knowledge I can share with.
That's why that's how I got to where I am. Is if it wasn't for people sharing, I would have been lost. Like I relied on those forums to help, right? So when I hit a wall, it was constantly asking, and it was everything from the basics of how do you take a figure apart, how do you prep a figure, and like without that, I would be lost. So I'm the same. Like whenever someone reaches out and asks, I always help.
Just a few minutes ago, I was on Facebook in one of the groups, and somebody was having issues getting tampographics off of a G.I. Joe figure. Winsor Newton. I was telling him, the best product I found to use is Winsor Newton, doing that kind of stuff, and I've almost always trying to help out.
Me too.
Now, this is really cool looking.
This is a fun one.
I have no idea who the character is, but beautiful work. Your sculpting has always been like amazing to me.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I like to sculpt. That's the thing I enjoy the most. So this is Ahab. He's an X-Men villain. He's a time traveling space pirate. So most of my knowledge of him is from the old Toy Biz figures, the 5-inch figures. But he also had like a big arc with like Rachel Summers in the 90s when she got like the Hound costume where she did like the red with the spikes and stuff.
Okay.
So I think he's like a pretty integral part of like that origin.
The shoulder armor is just so clean. It's like
I struggled.
I was just looking at that. I was like, oh, wow.
Look, it looks manufactured. It's so clean that shoulder
you.
armor is like this. Wow.
Thank you. Yeah. I that guy there was a lot of like build it up, sand it down, build it up, sand it down. I think the shoulders took me the longest on that, but like, once I got them to the point where I was happy with them, they were super heavy, so they kept moving on me. So I ended up having to put like magnets into a couple spots so they would kind of stay put. But I wanted them to be able to move when he moved his arm if I needed him to. So they're kind of affixed when they're in that standing position, but then when you move it like to a different angle, it can kind of like move a little bit back and forth just for like a bit of give. But yeah, this was such a challenging figure. I struggled with this one quite a bit.
It turned out fantastic though. It's like,
yeah, I really like it.
And the tech peg leg is like
yeah. That was the other one where I was worried about.
If you got cybernetic arms, why would you not just give yourself a cybernetic leg?
Oh, he's a pirate, man. That's just so perfect, right?
That's a great point.
I've always wondered with Forge, why does he like have part of his pants leg on his robotic leg?
It was the 90s, man. It's the 90s. That's all I can say.
This is a iconic team, like X-Men team. It blows my mind that Hasbro never did these costumes.
I'm not surprised that they didn't, to be honest, but that's kind of why I
because that box set sucked.
Yeah, like it's funny because it's like these guys were the last so when I first started customizing, I kind of did like I was focused on like 90s X-Men. That was what I wanted to get done because they weren't doing X-Men at the time. And once I kind of did like my gold team, my blue team, my X Factor, and my X Force, and that's all of them. Kind of right at the end, this is what I was reading. Like this is what kind of got me back into comics. So I got into the Marvel Now era of X-Men, and I was really intrigued by like the Uncanny X-Men story and the all new X-Men, which are these guys. So these are like the time displaced. These are like the 16-year-old original X-Men who were pulled out of the past and brought into the future to kind of try to like talk some sense into Cyclops, who was like waging a war against like humanity or whatever. So, and
they're basically I know Cyclops and Jean Grey took the places as the main.
Yes, they did.
They spoiler alert, they killed off the original Cyclops and he took his place.
Yep, exactly. So these were kind of like the last ones on my to-do list. So when I actually got these done, it was kind of like this like milestone point for me because it was like those were the last figures on my initial to-do list when I started customizing.
Oh, but and actual metal claws.
No, they're not actually. They are. I just chromed them out so they looked.
Like metal. You did a great job. I thought they were actual metal.
Yeah, they're actually just X-23 claws. I tried to use Wolverine claws, but they were like they were too thick and they looked weird. Like they didn't look like they fit on the figure. So
that's one of their better head sculpts too.
Yeah, that's a great head sculpt. I didn't even touch that. I think I just did a dry brush on the hair and that was it. So.
What'd you use for the goggles on Beast?
I used I had this like picture frame, like it had like a plastic piece of like acrylic on the front, and I actually used it for something different. What did I use it for? Maybe it'll come to me, but I basically used it for an eye flare for a long shot, and cool. I kind of cut it to how I wanted it to, and then kind of sanded the edges smooth. And then with Beast, I was trying to make them removable, but I couldn't get them, so I ended up just gluing them on. So, but yeah, it's just like a piece of like it's like a front piece of like a picture frame, like a big poster frame. So
very cool.
It works good. I was able to heat it. I kind of I had some trial and error because like when I heated it too much at one point, it was like they kind of warped on me. So kind of had to play with it and do it a couple times before I actually got it to how I liked it. But
and your piece is actually articulated and like the box set.
Yes. I actually am piecing together the pieces to do an original X-Men team, which was on my list for next year, but I think I'm going to try to squeeze it in this year because I feel like it's a relatively easy project. Cool. Instead of using the team bodies, I'm going to use the Amazing Fantasy.
Oh, and everybody in the chat, thank you for coming and joining us too. You got
Yes, thank
Gary
you.
on here.
Hey, Gary, what's up, man?
And I saw you were making a custom for Gary too.
I am. I'm making him a Red Skull, face-off Red Skull.
And it's looking great too.
Yeah, I haven't done a whole lot yet. I've only put in maybe 2 sculpt sessions, but what I've done so far I like. So I'm trying to clean up the. I have a bunch of jobs I've got to paint right now, and because I got some travel coming up, I'm trying to get my painting all done because I don't travel in paint. I'll travel in sculpt, but I won't paint. So speaking of time displaced, this is the time displaced angel. So this was X-Men Prime. I think it was like 2017 or something like that. So there was a storyline where Kitty Pryde, Angel, and I think one other X-Men got like cosmic powers. And so Angel's wings were replaced with these like energy wings. So
that's so cool.
Yeah, this was fun. I'm so happy it turned out how I thought it was going to. So I built the armature of the wings from epoxy sculpt and a clothes hanger.
Oh, really?
And then I used some female jointed arms to like do the bend where the circle parts are. And then I used I actually for the wing part, the energy part, I used a blue plastic dinner plate that I bought from Walmart. I just drew like a template onto it, cut it out, and then to add the effects, I went in with like a fine tip Dremel point and kind of did like the energy effects kind of on the ends there. So
you know what? Listening to that and the goggles for Beast, like I mean, this is kit bashing at its finest. Whatever you can to get what you need. You know what I mean?
Customizing one part skill, one part artistic ability, and one part MacGyver.
Totally. The unfortunate part about that is you start like never throwing things away. So you're like I have a bin of just shit that like, am I ever going to use it? I don't.
The customizer hoarding bins.
Exactly.
Oh my god!
I trim pieces off. It's like,
yeah,
nice sculpt. Maybe I can work this. I'll put this over here.
You know what's sad about it too? Honestly, you'll just pick up a random thing that you see somewhere in your room or whatever, and you'll be like, "Can I use this for a custom?" And it's like, I think we all go through that. It's like, no, you got to start throwing things out, man.
I'm trying to get better, but it's just like, I don't know. I've always had a little bit of a hoarding problem, so yeah.
I love your AOA customs you're doing right now too.
Yeah, thanks, man. The AOA stuff was a really fun little thing to do. So I was trying to build out that team a bit. So yeah, this is actually the effect is actually from Can of Beams. I took like one of his energy effects and I just used a bit of museum wax, which is like a clear blue stuff almost. And I just put a little on Banshee's chin and just stuck it on there and it worked.
Now you said that I can see a little bit of it.
Yeah, you can see it there. Yeah.
The way it works too, like it looks just like another distortion of the screen.
Exactly. Yeah, I figured it would work fine. I figured if I used blue stuff, it wouldn't, but the museum wax worked nicely. So
I've had it in my save for later card on Amazon for a while. I need to go ahead and just pull the trigger on some of that.
On the can. Oh, the museum wax. Yeah,
wax. Yeah.
Yeah, it works really good. Once it sets, it's like pretty on there. So
very cool.
Yeah,
love how this turned out.
Yeah, I like the wings. The wings turned out really good. Or if we can call them that, whatever they are.
Oh, yeah. You were using the bendy wire and rolled out the green stuff.
I did. I rolled out green stuff like as if it was like dough. So I did it like paper thin, and then I sandwiched a straight wire between them, and then I used a pizza cutter and I cut really thin strips, and then to prevent the paint from breaking on them when I bent them, I just dyed them.
When you wrote them out, I was watching your stream on that, and it inspired me. That's how I did like the straps on like my He-Man and stuff.
Oh, cool!
And wrote it flat on some parchment paper, and
yeah, it works great, man. It works so good.
It's cut it down in strips, and
it's good for like loincloths and stuff too. Because if you like lay it on the figure while it's still like pliable, it will actually like kind of conform to the legs a little bit, so you get some natural looking like creases and stuff in it that so it doesn't just look like flat, you know.
Yeah,
works really good.
Oh, I love it. How did you get that texture?
Honestly, I took some blue stuff and I warmed it up and I pressed it against the wall in my parking garage.
Really?
That's how I got it. It was all brick concrete, and I just made a few different impressions in a few different spots. And then when I obviously had to resculpt all the musculature on him, which was a pain. But yeah, I just did it little bit by little bit. And then once it was about an hour on there, I just took the stamp that I made from the wall and just pressed it, and it worked really, really well. So this is, I think to this day, this is still probably in my top 5 of my favorite customs I've ever done.
I can see why.
It's not even like I like the character. I actually don't even know the character. It's just
I have no idea who the character is, but it's just a stunning piece.
Yeah, it's just really it's striking, right? Like I like the watch on the hands.
To do 3 fingers and
Yep. I like the muted gold with like the shiny red eyes. Like I feel like it's a really strong contender for like.
It's one of those pieces that looks like you bought this. It's
yeah. I feel like it's probably one of my most polished pieces. So
yeah, well, I'm looking at this thing. I don't know who it is, but I just want one now. It's like,
yeah, this started as a juggernaut, and then just like I said, like almost a full resculpt. Pretty close.
Yeah.
Wow.
I love that thing.
Yeah, I like it a lot.
Baxter Stockman.
This guy's old. This guy was done for a customer who actually, he used to do a lot. I can't remember his name right now, but he used to do a lot of TNT, like Ninja Turtles toy photography. And he didn't, like when the NECA stuff started coming out, we only got the 4 Turtles, the Foot Soldiers, and Shredder and Krang. So
it took a long time for the NECA stuff to really take off.
It did, yeah. So this is like pre them taking off. So yeah, he wanted something that could transform from bug to human with this one. So I don't think I sent you the pictures, but so this guy actually has an alternate set of hands, an alternate head, and then different set of feet, and then the rip pants around the feet are actually just like an inset that you put like into the pant cuff, so that way when you swap the feet out, you can just take that out, and it's just like
that's awesome.
Not ripped pair, yeah. And then the lab coat covers the holes on the back for the wings and and the head was big enough that I didn't have like the fly head was big enough that it would like hide the neck, so you couldn't really see that it was like a skin tone neck underneath there.
Okay, cool.
But yeah, this is the first time I ever did a full head sculpt. So on both the human version and the bug version. So those are both full. Like I sculpted both the heads. So
okay, this is awesome. I don't know what it is, but it's awesome.
Yeah, I love this one. This is a Street Shark. This was done for. This was actually kind of where I started getting my following. So this is kind of when like I was doing pretty much exclusively X-Men figures. So like, you know, it was weird for me to all of a sudden do something like crazy like this, right? So this is a King Shark body. I did modify the head to look like less realistic and more cartoony.
Yeah.
And then he's got some Hulk arms. He's got some Hulk, like the old Ultimate Green Goblin legs. Okay. The rollerblades are actually like I bought these like finger rollerblades off of eBay. And then
I remember this. It's like a precursor, like fidget spinner type things.
Yeah.
Just
yes. This is pretty old. This is like
the tech decks and stuff.
Yes, exactly like the tech deck. Same idea. So this, and then I basically had to mod them. So I basically had to make them like into like ankle rocker style boots, which was like something. It was a challenge for sure, but it was a good challenge. And like I said, this is where I started like getting some more recognition, right? I started getting a little bit more acknowledged by people outside of just the whoosh. I started, yeah, I would say this was kind of like the starting point where like people started to notice me a bit more. So yeah, for that reason, this is a favorite piece of mine.
I know on the shorts, I was picking some of the pictures, so just limit it down to in a minute. For the advertising, I picked one of the Battletoads, and somebody commented like they love that you did the Battletoads. And
the Battletoad was cool too because he's another one that I utilized some magnets and stuff on, so I can talk about that as we come up there. But
this is really cool.
This was a crazy little journey, man. Like honestly,
yeah.
So this is the Crack Cow Media Mafia, if you want to DM me, I can send you a bunch. I got tons. So so this one is this is Jesse Rath, who plays Brainiac 5 on CW Supergirl. He commissioned me to do a figure of him from when he originally started in the show, which was season 3, I believe.
Yeah.
So I did a figure for him, and then when they wrapped, I think they finished Supergirl in season 5, I'm pretty sure. So when they wrapped the final season, he said to me, "Hey, I want a figure of me in my new costume, but I also want figures for 2 of my friends that I've made on set, which is Nicole Maines as Dreamer and Shyler Leigh as Sentinel." So he asked me to keep those 2 a secret. I was allowed to share this one, but I wasn't allowed to share the other 2 because he wanted to surprise them. So, and it was actually cool because not only did I get to hand them off in person, because they shoot Supergirl like right outside of where I used to live.
Yeah.
Like literally on the same street. So like I could just walk out. But yeah, so I got to meet up with Jesse, hand off the figures, and then he actually showed me a video of him like giving it to Nicole and Shyler, and it was pretty amazing. It was such a cool experience. So
Very cool. I was sitting there like looking at the makeup on his hands, and this is like not been retouched or anything. Like that's very impressive makeup they did for him.
Yes. Another cool thing about this was like I got to see a lot of cool behind the scenes stuff. So like when I was asking for like source pictures, like the team that would dress the 3 of them was like snapping pictures incognito for me and like sending them to Jesse, and then he was sending them to me. So it's like on my phone, I still have like a bunch of them. Like I have like full costume, all the up close details, the back, the front, the boots, the belts, everything. Like it was a pretty cool experience.
Oh yeah, I saw these pictures yesterday, and I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Let's see if I'll back up and get to there we go.
Yeah, there's Nicole's.
That came out really good.
Yeah, that was my favorite of the 3. I like Nicole's the best. Actually, the one I liked the least was Brainiac, and I ended up redoing Brainiac for Jesse. Like I just finished it like a few months ago. So
this one's spot on.
Yeah, I really like this one. I liked how this one turned out a lot. So yeah, it was just such a cool experience, man. Honestly, like
back up. Get back to the other one. Come on. Yes, it's so much cool stuff.
Yeah, I didn't know how much you wanted, so I kind of just put
there she is.
I put a bunch of stuff, put a bunch of my favorites in there, basically. So
yeah, another great one too.
Yeah. They all turned out. Like I said, I was very happy, especially with the 2 females. I was really happy. By the time I didn't like the Brainiac one at all, and but by the time I kind of started putting paint on it and seeing how much I didn't like it, it was too late to fix. I was on a super tight deadline. Like I literally sealed them and reassembled them like 2 hours before I gave them to Jesse. So there was a tight turnaround.
That's so cool, man.
Yeah,
it's a shame that they didn't get decent figures for the show, but
yeah.
Cara is the only one that got the. Was it Melissa?
Yeah, Melissa Benest or Benest.
She's the only one that got figures.
Yep.
She got a few. She got what the DC Direct one. She got, and the Mattel. The Mattel was just awful.
Those Mattel figures were pretty rough.
You couldn't even. Yeah, you know what? I really wanted figures of Kara and Ollie and Barry, and I ended up getting the 3 of them, the Mattel versions, and they are just absolute garbage. You can't even move. I still haven't been packaged.
The articulation is terrible on those.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a DC guy, so like I'm not familiar with the different lines that DC has to offer, but I kind of knew that, like he had mentioned to me that Todd didn't. He somehow knew that like they weren't going to be further like doing any more from Supergirl, so that's I think why he kind of reached out to me. So, which is weird because honestly, especially if they did a Dreamer, if they did a Nicole, man, that figure would sell because I can't even tell you when I started posting those figures, I was inundated with requests that I could not fulfill. So,
this is like, I know about this now. This is something I didn't know about as a child. And
Me
I was an
neither.
adult until I found out about Brave
Me
Star.
neither. Me neither.
But-
I didn't know it, which is weird because it's in line with like everything that I did know. But like for some reason, and it's not even that I wasn't familiar with it when I saw it. It's just like I don't even know it by name. Like I had no idea.
We lost when I was younger. When I was a kid, we lost Fox Network, which aired all this stuff.
Okay.
I got the first, I think, part of the first season of Thundercats. Then we lost the network, Fox,
Gotcha.
so I didn't get to see Brave Star, Defenders of the Earth, and that's all stuff I found out afterwards. And when I was an adult. But
yeah, this is another one that was really fun for a local friend. Again, we did a custom figure swap, and this was on his list, and yeah, it was a challenging project, but it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed making it.
It's kind of wild seeing this custom and knowing that the Ramen Toy is actually doing a third party of this one.
I saw that. Yeah, it's pretty cool. So
yours turned out great. Plus, is that an AIM body or
yeah? Well, I mean, I used Ghost Rider parts, but yes, it's the same. Yeah, so I used Ghost Rider legs on the Shatterstar.
This was a black figure, and you turn yellow.
Yeah, well, the legs, the torso and the crotch piece and the arms were Shatterstar.
Okay,
so Shatterstar with Ghost Rider legs, but yes.
Okay, but still, you turn those black legs orange and yellow.
Yes,
that's very impressive.
Thanks. Yeah,
go from black to one of the hardest colors to paint. Very impressive.
I hang my hat on how bright I can get my yellows. That's like one area that like I'll like even brag about a bit because I am always impressed by my ability to be able to get the yellows to really pop. So
yeah, I just recently did a yellow one myself. So
yes, you were. One Punch, right? One Punch Man. Yeah, that turned out
great. I cheated. I used a yellow base figure.
Yeah, that's okay though. I mean, the thing is like you can save yourself a lot of headache. Customizing is also about using the right parts, right? And
that's like my tutorial on like how to prep joints is my number one way to prep joints. Don't find a figure that's the color that you need. The base parts.
Save yourself the headache.
Work smarter, not harder, right?
That's right. That's right.
And a fantastic cable.
Yeah, this one was done for a friend as well. It's funny, all my favorites are done for other people because when they're for someone else, I always put more love into them. So
I understand it completely. It's like if it's something me, I will put a lot of work into my own stuff too. But when it's for somebody else, I ramp it up. I go all out.
Yeah, I always do. I just like to make sure that they're happy, like that they're proud. They can proudly display it and not have to worry about moving it anyway, right? So, yes, this was a pretty fun one. This was done on a Unworthy Thor body.
Oh, really?
I wanted to try to use a different, I liked the size of using the like a Hyperion body, but I just didn't like the torso without having something around the neck to kind of hide those weird muscles around the neck. So. Yeah, so a lot of my reason for picking this when I decided to pick this from my friend's list was I wanted to finally get a chance to use that torso. So I was like, all right, I want to.
It is a great torso for replacement.
Yeah, much better.
It's insane that they will still use the Hyperion torso for stuff afterwards.
Frustrating. I'd say frustrating is probably the better word to use.
You know what?
And it's weird we haven't got this version of Cable as a figure.
I know. I wonder if it has something to do with rights for Capcom. Because was this ever a look in the comics for him? I don't remember it.
Well, they retoy one similar to Toy Biz like this.
Oh yeah, I guess.
But he had the shoulder armor.
Didn't Toy Biz have the Capcom rights at one point? Because didn't they do Marvel vs. Capcom stuff? I thought they did.
Maybe at 3 3/4 inch. Yeah.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, I hope they eventually do this because I do like this look for Cable a lot. So
yeah, I do too.
Yeah, this custom is so clean, man. Like even this one.
Thank you. Yeah, it's the yellows again, right? I really pride myself on those yellows that pop.
And those were black legs.
Those were black legs. Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
And
Crimson.
Another one. It's hard to believe we don't have is Crimson
I can't
Dynamo.
believe it myself. Yeah, Crimson. This was a fun one to do, man.
They gave us a Crimson Dynamo when nobody wanted.
Yeah, I guess. But this one was this is the one that I like. This is one of the customs that I worked on over the longest amount of time. So I did a bunch of it, and then I got stumped, and I kind of put it down, and then I moved like houses, and then so like I kind of stopped customizing for like 3 or 4 months. And
I'm sitting there trying to figure out how you did the armor. Is it like tubes you've set up? Like,
so those are barbecue skewers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I cut them into size, and then once I painted them, I saw the wood grain and I hated it. So I took some liquid green stuff, and I like went in with a paintbrush, and then I sanded it all, and then I had to go back in again and add more again and sand it. It was a lot of work, but yeah, they're all just barbecue skewers.
I was going to say, imagine you used styrene rods, but
that would have been smarter probably, but yes, yeah. So I use them. They're actually on PVC piping, and so like on the ankles, they kind of on the legs, they kind of float a little bit, so that way there's room to be able to like move the ankles around still. But I fixed the ones on the hands, so that way because they kept on falling off when I would, or like falling over the hands when his hands were down by his side. So I ended up like putting those in place and keeping them there. So
got a few comments, Phil. On here, Brave Star was okay, but Galaxy Rangers are great.
I don't know Galaxy Rangers either. I don't know what that is.
I've seen like the intro. It looks cool, but I don't much know them either.
Yeah.
We got Brave Star over here, so we got glad to see we're getting to get this one. I gave 30, it 30.
Hey, Darth Gutierrez, how's it going, man?
It's like Whip It Crew. Cable's chest is too small, I feel.
Okay, cool. So there you go. I didn't know that. I didn't know that he did. So when I made that Marvel vs. Capcom one, even though my friend who wanted it specified he wanted it Marvel vs. Capcom, I did give him the shoulder armor that the old Cable had. So like I got a cast of that old one from the Toy Biz thing. So I did actually add that in as well as kind of like an homage to the old Toy Biz one too.
Yeah, I got that somewhere around in one of my fodder boxes. I think I got from Casting Cave years ago.
I think that's where I got it too, actually, was from Casting Cave.
Corey's got so many good castings
so
years.
much.
He don't do as much castings anymore, like the raw castings. He does the head cast because he said nobody buys the castings anymore. Like,
well, he does a lot with Fan Plastic 4, right? So, yeah.
Well, nobody wants to buy the raw castings and paint them themselves anymore. What he said, it's like he sells very few of those. He sells more painted stuff now.
I get that. He's a great painter, so
his paintwork is phenomenal.
Yeah.
And I love Candy Red.
Oh yeah, you know how I got that? I did the whole thing in chrome. I have this really cool chrome spray paint called Montana Gold, and it's like really nice and shiny. So I did the whole thing in chrome, and then I airbrushed it in clear red.
There you go.
And it like popped like crazy. Like even the color there isn't like really truly accurate to how it was in hand.
Nice. That's how that's how I did like the peas on several of my primes. I did them in gold, then I need clear red over top.
I love that combo. It just you can't really replicate it with paint, or I haven't found a paint that you can, anyways.
Yeah. And
very cool sideboard. Yeah, this was done for New Collector for my buddy Seth. So,
well, you just did an awesome Bane for too.
Who I just did an awesome Bane for. Yes, I love this Bane. It turned out so good. He's right here, but his head's currently off because I had to. Once I put him all together, I ended up having to fix I was having paint rub on the head, so or on the neck. Sorry, I have to fix it still tonight. So,
wow.
And then the head was done by Uncanny Sculpts.
That's such a great choice for the base too.
You did a great job too, fixing like these. Make the arms the same size.
You know what though? Once I put color on it, I realized it could have been a bit more, but it is what it is. It's kind of hidden by the fact that there's like the band around it, kind of hides it a bit. But
you can say good though. He's got a little extra boost of venom on that one arm.
Yeah. Yeah, I like how he turned out, and that was a really again. You can always tell how much fun I'm having on something when in terms of like how fast I get through them. Like I did that in a month, so.
But Yeah, this one turned out great. Which version of Cyborg is this?
So this was kind of like I don't actually think it's like a source accurate thing. He found a picture that someone drew of like an adult cyborg in like the Teen Titans gear. So he sent that to me. And then I just kind of copied off that. So this was I can't even remember what the base body was for this. I think it was a Spider-Man UK.
Oh, wow.
So
that's a lot of work on redoing UK into that.
Yeah, I like sculpting armor. So when he had asked me if I wanted to do this, I was like, yeah, for sure. I like sculpting armor. It's the thing I enjoy sculpting the most. So
the blue highlights look really set it off too.
Yeah, I like the blue. I like the blue a lot. So this was a cool one too. This is a Daredevil built on a V-Toys body.
I was trying to figure out what that body was. It's like V-Toys.
Yeah. It's I ended up dyeing it, and then sculpting like boot cuffs and glove cuffs and the belt and everything on there, and then I ended up having to modify a few things. So I had to modify the ankles to like make them house a Marvel Legends foot. Mm-hmm. And the hands as well. I took away like the ball joints and did like a Marvel Legends style so I could use Marvel Legends hands. So
Chromecast is back. We're just talking about the candy.
Oh yeah.
Dynamo beautiful Gary. Custom.
Just imagine the fire.
Yeah, I'm still surprised we didn't get that version of Crimson Dynamo yet. You know.
Me too. Yeah. It'll come. It's gotta come. Maybe they'll do it for Armor Wars, like to coincide with that.
Well, hopefully.
It'd be nice. It'd be nice to see. This is the first time I did a collaboration with somebody. So this was done by basically I hate the Marvel Legends doppelganger we got, and I was like, I'm not putting that on my shelf.
I didn't buy it.
Yeah, I didn't either. So I ended up saying I was like, who does the best web? Like I don't have the patience to do web lines, and like even if I did, they wouldn't turn out that nice. So I'm like, who does the best web lines? So I was like, okay, 978 custom, so pounds. He pretty much does exclusively Spider-Man stuff. So
he's like the go-to Spider-Man.
He's the go-to. And honestly, so I reached out and I was like, hey man, I want to make a doppelganger. I don't want to paint it. What would you charge me if you like to paint it? And he said, how about you build 2 of them and I'll paint, and then you build them and I'll paint them and I'll give you parts for mine. And so I built 2 and then sent them to him and then he painted them. And then we had a couple like loose joint issues. So he sent them back to me, both of them back to me. I fixed them. I photographed both of them and then I sent him his back. So, and I gotta say, man, honestly, like, I've never seen a paint job so crisp in person. Like even on the elbows where like the elbow joints are, he's got web lines on the joints. Like it's crazy, man. Like it's so professionally done. It's just it
looks fantastic.
Impressive. Yeah, it's so impressive.
I'm sitting here like looking at they all match up and they're evenly spaced.
Everything. It's all perfect. All of it. Like nothing. There's not a scuff on it. It's all perfect. It's crazy.
Wondering how many art pins he killed doing the web lines.
I think he uses a brush. I'm pretty sure he uses a brush. Yeah, he does. He has a tutorial about it, but I'm pretty sure he uses a brush.
That's insane, man.
I know. It's like the steadiest hand ever. Like
I'm sitting there start panel lining my puff adder just because between the 2 greens.
I saw that. I know. I don't know why they did that. There's hardly any contrast. Like you almost don't even see it.
It need to be a much different shade of green if they're not putting panel on. Oh, I have no idea what this is, but it looks cool.
This is so. Remember, I was saying earlier, my friend from BC that I met through Secret Santa. So way back in the day, I might have even included it in here. We'll see as we move along. I can't remember. I did a bad guy from it. So I got his list for Secret Santa, and it was like 7 things. It was all stuff I wasn't familiar with, and like at that point, I was very uncomfortable with doing anything again that was like not X-Men. So I basically just said, okay, what's the craziest thing on this list? That's what I'm going to do. So I made him this character called Jeff. But this character was also on that original list when we first started talking. So the year before, we did a figure swap, just me and him. And I said, I'll do a swap with you, but you have to let me do Drywall. This character's name is Drywall. It's from Scud the Disposable Assassin. So, yeah, and basically what it is all these zippers all over him, they open to like different dimensional portals.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
So what I did was I think there was 9 in total on the figure that I made 9 removable zippers that were plugs. And then you take the zipper off and then you plug these bendy wires in that have hands attached to the ends. And then you can put weapons and all these different things. Like he's got crazy, like, I mean, there's no limit to the stuff that he carries.
I'm afraid what'll come out some of these zippers.
What's that, sorry?
I'm afraid what'll come out some of those zippers.
Well, there's just like he sent me so many different like panels, right, to reference, and like so like I tried to include a little bit of everything. So like there's like the flaming toaster in the back there. There's like a like a bomb, but then he's got like Tommy guns and laser guns and swords and umbrellas, and it's just yeah. That's what you're talking. That's what you've been.
Yeah,
he's been making fire references on my Bane posts, and I haven't been understanding. And now,
and this is another fantastic AOA.
Again, meant to be such a simple, basic custom that I ended up just going farther than I thought I was going to go on them, and just I freaking love this figure. Like it's just so clean and. Yeah, again, I'm very happy. Since then I've actually hit those blue power effects with clear red, and like they really pop now. So
nice.
Cool.
Yeah. No, I love this AOA Havoc. I love it so much.
Yeah, those effects are meant for Havoc.
Yeah. Yes. Totally. I think that was where we first got them, weren't we? Wasn't it? I think it was from Juggernaut Wave.
I believe so. Yes.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Yep, and they were blue. Are those?
Those are red
boots.
Those are Red Skull. The Villains Wave Red Skull boots.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
Mm-hmm. And then the arms are the upper arms or
I'm asking you because I'm thinking I need a custom that needs those type of boots.
Oh yeah. Was it Red Skull or Dormammu? I think it was Red Skull.
I think they share the same body.
They're different boots. They're slightly different, but I'm pretty sure they're Red Skull. So
I have an extra Red Skull because they sent me a defective one, and
they told me
Amazon sent me the defective one, and they told me I can keep that one. And you might be losing some boots.
I like that body. I've been using it a lot. I'm actually have a custom on my table right now. I can't talk about it because it's a secret, but. That I'm using some parts from the Dormammu body, and I quite like it. So
that face turned out really good too.
Yeah, I've been really trying to focus on faces for the last couple of years, so I feel like everyone's getting a bit better, which I'm happy about.
Our last showcase was Nico, Villain Customs.
Yep,
his faces are phenomenal.
Yeah. Sorry, who's the customizer?
Nico.
Is it Artman?
No, it's
his name's Domenico.
Villains Customs?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he does a great job. You see that Mantis he just did, or he's just showing off?
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful.
His females with the beauty makeup are just
so good.
So yeah,
I'm still not there yet. I've had success on a couple female figures that I think look pretty, but that's my usual struggle because
you know
I found that if you dual coat your faces, and you can actually use pastels with like a blending sticks, blending stuffs.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Then do a light dual coat back over top of them,
right, to kind of protect it.
The one thing we were talking about while we were looking at his work that time is like we're looking at the eyes, especially in the females, and they actually looked like they had gloss in them. Like it looked like a real human eye would. They're wet. They look.
Oh yeah.
A wet look to them. It's so.
I started doing that over the last couple of years.
He even puts shade in the whites of the eyes.
Oh wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm too afraid that I'm going to screw it up. Like my rules with the eyes are because it's not my strong point. Is like when I get it to the point where I'm like, 90% happy with it, I'm like, okay, I'm not touching it. Like that's
Yeah.
I'm gonna call that a win, and I'm gonna just let it ride.
That's my biggest thing to learn, to stop.
Yeah. You can pick it apart, and then and then you ruin it, right? So yeah.
I've done that many times, ruined something and had to start over because I just kept picking at something and damn it, now I got to strip it.
Yep. So a lot of my older customs have that issue with the faces in particular, because it's just like I keep trying and trying, but yeah.
More incredible sculpting work with the
Thank
pads
you.
on the shoulders, the boots.
Thank you.
I was watching your live streams when you're sculpting those boots. It's like,
This is a fun one too. I like Gambit's look in AOA. I love AOA. Like I just love how all the looks are just so different from what they traditionally are, right? So you know, a lot of times you just get like minor changes, but with AOA, it's like everyone's like completely different.
And since we were talking about being a customizer hoarder, I know where the cape came from, the young Thor from Cable.
That's right. Been holding on to that for a minute.
I like the smirk. It looks.
Yeah, that's the Toy Biz Gambit head, and I just like shaved off the head sock on him. So
I'm looking at mine right now.
I actually used that on my Hasbro. I had a head casting of the Toy Biz one.
Yep.
And I picked it up and put it on my Hasbro one. It looks nice. Better head sculpt.
Have you seen pictures of the one from those 3-packs, the blue and yellow suits?
Yes.
It's amazing, man.
It looks so much better, but I don't want to buy 3-packs of costumes I don't care about.
I understand.
Yeah.
I was so excited to get those costumes, especially because they gave it to us all at once. I was like, oh, it's nice to not have to wait.
I'm glad for everybody who wanted them. It's me. I like his traditional.
Yeah, fair enough.
Outfit.
Fair enough. I'm a hardcore X-Men fan, so like this whole shelf is gonna all be X-Men with this next reline I do. Right now, there's a couple things that aren't X-Men on it, but I'm changing that. So
our friend Modesto, he's a big
I was just gonna mention him.
Love X-Men.
He with the windowless boxes too. He opens up everyone and to make sure they're not been swapped or anything like that.
Good for him.
And he's got where he was talking about he gets his daughter to actually film him cutting the tape, open them up so they can't say, "Oh, you just did this yourself."
Yep, that's a good idea. Well, I don't know how it is for you guys there. I mean, Hulk Smash would probably know this, but like Toys R Us here, like they don't even take returns on Marvel Legends. They won't take so it's like their prices are crazy. You can't see what you're buying, and they won't even take a return. So
yeah, they charge.
I saw in a collector group somebody went to Target locally down here, and not here, but his local Target, and he went to the customer service, said, "I want to buy this. I'm committing to buy this, but I want to open make sure what's in there." And he said, "Good, because we won't accept returns if you
walk out with it, right?" Yeah,
because there's been so many figure swaps because of the windowless boxes.
You have to. That's the sad part. I'm glad we're going back to windowed boxes.
It was stupid to even go that decision anyway.
I agree. I'm not a fan.
It was never a environmental issue. It was cheaper for them.
Yep, more money in their pocket, and something they could say, "Hey, we're now not doing plastic, so pat on the back," right?
Yeah.
And
one of my favorite armors. I'm sure you did this before they announced the.
I did. This is the first time I did it. Again, this was also for New Collector. So New Collector's gotten a lot of my favorite pieces. So
your reds are better, and plus the yellows.
Well, he really wanted shiny red, matte yellow. That's what Seth wanted. So,
and we haven't got that from Hasbro yet. So we got
not yet.
We got kind of a shiny red.
I like the figure. I like the figure that they did, like the sculpt and everything, and the way it moves and stuff. I really like.
And you actually got the proper size reactor.
Yes,
they did a Superman logo for their reactor.
Yes, they did. It's not accurate,
and so it should be a pentagon like that.
Yeah, no, I like this Iron Man a lot. And again, like a lot of this comes down to like the paint job. I like the blue outlines on the eyes. I like the shiny, like candy apple red. Again, done with the chrome and the clear red.
And you got the proper yellow stripes around the crest.
Yeah, I really like
beautiful.
How that turned out.
What did you use? Like what base figure? A Bucky?
That is a Grim Reaper. And then I used Iron Man.
Oh, I see you cleared out the shoulders to.
Yeah,
big flaw on Grim Reaper.
I had to, especially because I bulked up the shoulders too, right? So
yeah,
Yeah, I had to.
That-
I did.
that
I
Grim-
took off more than
even
I would have liked to, though. There, like
right out of the
that-
box, the Grim Reaper will chew up the shoulders.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's brutal. I don't personally like that buck. I find it's very bloated looking, but
I like the update when they did Sentry on it, but the arms seem like they stick out a little bit too far.
yeah. I haven't held one in hand, but yeah. I wish again, like it. I feel like Vulcan's a better replacement for Grim Reaper than it is for Bucky, personally. But
Well, Sunfire is basically a replacement for Bucky.
yeah, he's a bit small, but yes, I agree.
It's the exact same height as Bucky.
Is it the same? Yeah.
Yep.
I knew they're pretty close, but yeah, I like this. The Sunfire is my favorite body to customize on. So
That's what I use for the Sunfire size for One Punch Man.
yes, yeah. What was the base figure on that?
It was Pyro and a little. I used the butterfly joints out of a Fire Lord,
Oh, cool. That's a smart idea.
so I don't have to worry about the paint rub.
Yeah, smart idea.
And I already have an idea what I can use the head from Fire Lord for. I make
What are you
a
gonna-
Wave Rider from DC.
I don't know who that is, so
90s character, or they're like
Okay.
the time traveler.
okay. Yeah, I'm not a DC guy. If you say like Batman, Superman, I know those guys, but
Oh, Jedi.
And the Force is strong with this one.
hells yeah. This was a fun one. This was I had a SH Figure Arts Obi-Wan Kenobi figure that I was missing some parts from, and I was like, okay, how can I repurpose this? So I started playing around with a knockoff Mafex Deadpool, and I was able to put together like a mix between the two of them. So yeah, so this is import style, right? So he's got all the import articulation, which is good. All the import extra hands, which is nice. And then I used some magnets to attach the lightsabers to the belt and the guns to the back of the harness. And yeah, this was such a fun project to do. I really like this one. And
Awesome.
every time I redo my shelves, it's fun to like put this guy into a new pose. Like so.
Back when we were talking about closed boxes, the Transformers, they don't put they have actually a cutout in the boxes in their window, so people actually can steal parts off the figures.
Really?
It's a common thing where people will pop the heads off the Transformers.
Wasn't that like that Space Jam? Wasn't there a bunch of Space Jam figures that were
They
missing
did it with
heads?
Space Jam, then now they start doing it with Transformers.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's kind of dumb. You'd think they'd learn their lessons, but
Nah, they don't care.
Yeah.
Well, that's why they're bringing back plastic box chain retailers are ones
Yeah.
total. They're like, oh, we're doing it for the fans. No, your box retailers told you like put the windows back.
put the windows back in, dude. Oh, there's the Jeff. This is the other one. This is the one that goes with that drywall, the blue character with all the zippers.
That is.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, so this was a crazy
He's
project.
got mouse on his knees. And
It's like I always used to say, it's like if you were gonna describe this guy, it's like it sounds like you're just making it up on the fly. It's a guy with mouse on his knees, with a plug for a head and mouse traps for hands, with a squid strapped to his chest and hands for feet. It's like
were they asking their kid for like ideals for characters? This seems like a toddler would come up with an ideal for a character.
so this is Jeff. That's her name. It's a girl too. She's a mob boss. And in the Scud the Disposable Assassin book, she's the first villain that he fights.
Is this
Wow.
the brain part or
No,
how's
that's
this
a
work?
So this is a squid that she has attached to her. So I don't actually quite know the whole thought behind that, but I used an actual plug for the prong part for the head.
Oh, okay.
And then I used like a piece of plastic that I had been saving so it wasn't too heavy. So I just built like a plug out of that kind of. And then the tentacles, this was a cool one. I actually had a friend who I worked with who was doing like movie prosthetics. And she taught me how to make like fake skin using paper towels and liquid latex.
Mm-hmm.
So to do the tentacles, I took some heavy gauged wire, and then I started wrapping. I started making all these sheets of fake skin and started rolling them around the wire, gluing them, letting them dry, rolling, and then to do the little dots on the underside, I just used puffy paint.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, so it's all bendable and it's flexible.
I was wondering how you did the little suckers on there.
Yeah, and then because I was I was adding paint into the liquid latex, I just had to do like a dry brush over top of the tentacles. Like I didn't actually have to do like a full paint on them because they were mostly the color I needed them to be.
Very cool.
Mm-hmm. This is Jin Satone from Marvel vs. Capcom. This was a fun one to do as well. I did this for my buddy D.
You know, I remember back when I first started customizing, everybody was making this guy.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, it's just like you never saw him for ages. That's why when I saw the picture yesterday, I was like, "Oh wow, that's like memory lane right there."
Blast from the past, right?
Yeah, this just looks so cool. This one's amazing.
I'm hoping Jada Toys has a full Capcom license.
That'd be sick.
And they can start making, because they were doing Mega Man, they're doing the Street Fighter.
Yep.
Hopefully they can do like, I would love to see like a whole line where you can like replicate like Marvel vs. Capcom type.
That would be sick, man. That would be dope. I can't wait to get those Jada figures, man. I'm pumped for Street Fighter, but I am like insanely pumped.
I've been
for Mega Man.
passing on all like the import Street Fighters, the Storm Collectible Street Fighters, because they're too expensive. So I like Street Fighter, but not enough to pay $100
$100 a figure. Yeah, I don't blame you.
And then they showed off the update Chun-Li.
Yeah,
damn,
oh my God, she looks good. I'm actually gonna replace my figure arts with Jada's because, like, I have all the figure arts Street Fighters. I don't do Storm, but I have figure arts. But I prefer the aesthetic of the Jada, so I'm actually gonna sell off as they come out. I'm gonna sell off my Bandai stuff in favor of Jada.
And I can guarantee Hasbro would not do a character like that Chun-Li because they do not like getting female figures shapely for bodies anymore.
Well, I don't know if you have seen like when June from Jada Toys was on Toy Migos a couple weeks ago, and he actually showed off like one of the guys there asked if he could see like the butt because like he's like, did you sculpt the cheeks like onto the legs or did you do it onto just the torso part? And like they actually did it on the legs, so like you can even see the shape when like she like kind of moves right when she's doing like the split kick and stuff. Like, man, it's super impressive. Jada's gonna set an example for what all domestic toy companies should be doing. Like,
I would love to see them get start doing dark.
Oh my God, that would be so sick, man.
Have a Morgan and a Felicia sitting next to Chun-Li.
That would be amazing. I would definitely buy some Darkstalker stuff too. I would love to do Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, like, how many people want a Morgan and a Felicia? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
and they had so many cool characters too.
They did.
Capcom, the Darkstalkers. Can't remember their names, but
me neither. It's just you see them and you're like, oh,
the Frankenstein, the Wolfman.
The Wolfman was so dope.
The zombie guy would actually like impale him with the ribs. That's
a lot of them were in the Capcom.
He was a rocker, and the rocker zombie guy.
Yeah,
he had a guitar, and
I
am completely blanking on his name, but
that's cool. A lot of them. There's a Darkstalkers comic out this month.
Oh, cool.
Oh. That's cool.
Yeah, the headless LeBrons were everywhere.
That's what it was. It was LeBron. That's what it was. Thank you.
And this was so cool. It's like we were talking about this the night before you posted this, and
that's so funny.
It was such a. I was talking about how like all of us like this cartoon.
It's got a cool theme song. I actually didn't really love the show, but I love the theme song.
It's on Amazon Prime, I believe.
Oh, nice. Yeah. I heard that Real Ghostbusters is on Amazon Prime now too.
Oh, cool. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah,
I enjoyed that show too.
Me too. It's been a long time since I've seen it, but
yeah, you did.
This was a fun. This was a fun one. I did this for Astonishing News and Reviews for Elvin, and I had a great time making this one. So this is very fun.
Quarterback Arthur.
Quarterback Arthur. And he has like his mask can like come off, or you can like just slip it up over so like it lifts.
Oh, that's cool.
Thing. Yeah.
What's that sword from? That's a cool looking sword.
It's from Gladiator. The first Gladiator.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, it worked well.
Now this looks cool.
Yes. This was another very fun one to do. This was Luther from the Umbrella Academy. And it's actually the first time I used those tubes that I used on Bane. So they're the same idea here for this guy. So
Was that a Sasquatch body or?
yep, it's a Sasquatch body, and then I swapped out the hands for hands from Mr. Hyde.
Okay.
And then I gave him like a gung ho neck and a Warpath head. So, and then I sculpted the hair and sculpted. Yeah, I sculpted a bunch.
I would have not thought that was a Warpath head until you said.
Yeah,
I see
it was
now.
nice because he already had the mask, so I didn't have to do that, which was great.
Yeah, you got the domino mask already switched on.
Yeah, but I did sculpt the boots and the chest, the collar piece, and the straps for his backpack. And
Very cool.
Yeah. This was a really fun.
The buckles, man, just the detail you get on those buckles are really nice.
Thanks, dude. Yeah, this was this was another Secret Santa one. Again, I don't think anything in here is shit that I kept for myself. I think these have all gone out the door.
Oh, I remember you working on this for a while.
This was a cool one. Unfortunately, his articulation was a bit limited with that skirt, but it is what it is, right?
Well, it's Mandarin. It's like
he's not really an agile type character, right?
Yeah, exactly. So this was done for Resilient Customs. One night when I was doing a live stream, I was like, if anybody wants to do a Mandarin from the animated series, like, let me know. I'll give you a good price on it because it's just something I want to do. And he's like, yep, let's do it. So I gave him like a really good price on it. And I just wanted
the head sculpt is just fantastic. Like that.
Thanks. It's a reference that most people won't get, but the only thing I don't like about this figure is the head. I like how it looks, but it reminds me of a character from this show called Kenny vs. Spenny. It's like a Canadian show. And one of the main characters has a bunch of like alter egos, and one of them's name is Maurice Del Taco. It's like his like Spanish porn star character. And when I look at the face, all I see is Maurice Del Taco.
Well, I don't have that frame of reference, so I don't see Maurice Del Taco. So I still like it a lot. The hair flows so naturally.
Yeah. I like the hair a lot. Yeah. So this was a really fun project to work on. Yeah. Name Withheld also said that Kirby Crackle is great. That's actually Can of Beams as well, so they're available to buy. They're great, and they just slide over the hand pegs, so it's really nice and easy.
I gotta be careful with my ham hocks. Because the clear acrylics, I've actually broke one of the Can of Beams things and I had to glue it back together.
Oh no! I had one piece break from them. I can't even tell you how many I have. I have over like 30 pieces from him. So, but one piece broke from him.
Oh, look at the
he
comment.
replaced it. So
you're putting all your customs are coming up in the search.
That's hilarious. Yeah, well, I mean, it was hard to find references for a lot of them, so I had to rely on my friend a lot to be like, "Can you send me pictures from the books?" And because, like, I don't know what this is. So this is Mark Hoppus from Blink 182. So Blink's my favorite band. So when like a couple years ago, Mark Hoppus got cancer, was going through a bunch of stuff, and when my dad had cancer, I made a Funko Pop figure of him. And then every time he would kind of go into the hospital, he'd always take it with him and stuff. So I was like, I wanted to do something for Mark because, like, again, it's my favorite band. Awesome. And so I had Craniac Studios do the head sculpt for me and the base, and then just put together a figure for him. And I actually have never been able to get it to him, but I'm seeing Blink around this time next month, and I'm trying to get a meet and greet before so I can hand this off finally. So he did see it and comment on it, which was pretty awesome.
Oh, wicked.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. So would love to give it to him in person though. Would be great. This is old. This is Vengeance of Moon Knight. It's like a very specific version of Moon Knight. Actually, the new Moon Knight from Amazing Yamaguchi is modeled off of that version as well. So it's amazing. He's like an armored Moon Knight, basically.
That's what you excel at is armor.
Yes, exactly.
That looks awesome.
This is old. This is old. This is probably like 6 years old.
I love the light blue shading.
Yeah, I did like this like light blue wash, but then it took me forever to get like, you know how when you do like a blue wash, sometimes with white, it's hard to like get the blue to go away. So it took a lot of work to like go over it and get the white popping through again because the blue was very prominent for a bit there. But yeah.
Quite a few instances doing that. It's like lots of dry brushing white back over.
Yeah, exactly. Like, shit, I overdid it.
Yeah, the finished product is really nice though. The blue is so subtle.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's kind of I was kind of going for like almost like a blue glow from like the cracks of the armor.
Yes,
is kind of what I was wanting. So I think I got it in most of the spots. Sometimes at some spots I maybe got a little too white again, but yeah, it was like that balance, right? Trying to find the right balance.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Oh, that's awesome,
Captain Rex.
Yeah, I really hope we get a proper old man Rex soon because my only beef with this guy is he's too skinny. We should have a little heft on him.
Yeah.
Which I don't have, but that's okay.
They'll probably release him as a deluxe figure just because he's got to be
because of his heft.
You know what kills me is they're doing that with Santo, Black Santo. They're releasing the proper one.
From,
yeah.
And it's Black Chrysanthemum.
I'm willing to pay a deluxe price for Chrysanthemum because I feel like he's a big enough character that like it warrants it. Where I have a problem with it is like, what's his name from Saw Gerrera? Like that shouldn't have been and like Boba Fett just because he has like a jetpack. Like,
yeah, but even like I mean that droid from the
Ned, right?
Obi-Wan show. Yeah, it's like. I really wanted that thing because I kind of, I liked the idea of that droid, and all of a sudden it's like, what? That's a deluxe figure, and then it's like the
you're talking about Calculon.
No,
Calculon from Futurama.
Oh yeah,
it looks like it's called acting.
Yeah,
yeah. No, Calculon.
I don't know the reference.
That robot looks like there's a character on Futurama called Calculon. He's a soap opera robot actor. He's an actor. It talks like more like a really cheesy William Shatner, like bad thing. But it looks a lot like Calculon.
But yeah, I hear what you're saying though, Hulk Smash. It's annoying when they sell you like a figure that shouldn't be a deluxe as a deluxe. It's like,
well, the new PlayStation Spider-Man. It's like
even the Dark Troopers, Troopers from the Mandalorian. Like I was like, what?
Those are at least they came with extra hands. But yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah. So
I love how you did the leaves on this one.
Thank you. Yeah, the leaves were. This was a challenge. I have beefs with this figure, but I do like how it looks, and I think to this day that head sculpt is one of the best female head sculpts I've ever done. Like, paint,
I was thinking, going through like my female fodder box.
Yeah,
I was sitting there like, I don't know. I remember you talking about like you said you were want. I think if I remember correctly, you said you like to ground down the torso a little more before you put the leaves on.
Yeah. That was my only thing I don't like.
I seen what you don't even have to do that. Pick you up a Eternal Cersei. That skirt piece is an overlay. You can pull it off, and it is a very slimmed down lower section.
Oh, that would have been good. Yeah. That was the issue I had with this. Was like, so what I basically did was I did the same thing with the green stuff as I did with Banshee's wings. I rolled it paper thin, and then I bought like a leaf press for like a scrapbook, and then I literally just punched out like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of leaves.
You should put a link to that on one of your videos.
Press. Affiliate link.
Yeah, I'd go click on it if you had it.
And then I just glued them down one layer at a time. I could only do one layer at a time because I tried to do a couple and I couldn't get them to lay flat enough. So I would glue them down and then tape it really, really tight to like really press them against the body. And then I just had to do one layer at a time. I did it over like 2 weeks and just kind of slowly got through it. But
it drove me mad when I did my friend custom character on my friend's Indiegogo book. Like he's pro comic artist. He's doing his own IP now.
Cool.
And he's got like dragon scale mail on his on his one side of his armor, and I found these like fingernail art pieces that were like diamond shaped, which worked out perfect. And I glued each one individually. I'd stab it with a knife, dip it in the glue, hold it in place till it sticks.
That's a great idea. You know, the thing is like
Nail
you can
art
go
has
another
been a
direction
lifesaver.
and you can go another direction and try to sculpt it, but you'll never get the look. And like once you have it in place, like it looks so good. Like it's just
And I
you
couldn't
can't
make it like
argue.
a texture stamp because it's not like Captain America rounded scales. It
Right.
was distinctly triangle,
Diamond
like
shape.
a diamond
Yeah,
shape,
pointy, right? Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I just happened to find that fingernail art, and it saved me several times, like doing like finding fingernail art stuff. And so I actually now, if I need something, I go, I wonder if they got some fingernail art that matches.
Well, I was looking for fingernail art, graffiti pieces for the leaves and stuff originally, and all I could find was paper, and it was like, I don't trust that this is going to do what I need it to do.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm just going to make my own. So
The nail art stickers are really good too. Like when I did my first U.S. agent custom,
yeah,
and I got nail art stars, and I was like,
oh, that's a great idea.
That's clean, crisp. And when I did my mashup between like a mix between Bucky Cap and Winter Soldier, I did like a what if he kept some of his costume. So I actually used a nail art star on his shoulder.
For the shoulder. Well, I was talking with, so when I was working on this Metal Luna, Jeff Metal Luna Customs, he was in my helper group, and I was showing him that I was doing this, and he ended up using a star punch for something that he was doing a Wonder Woman, I believe it was, and he needed a star. And so that's what he did, is he went and he got a star punch, and he did exactly the same thing. He's like, man, it works so good.
Yeah.
It's great.
So he did like for her swimsuit, did like 3 stars, and
yeah, I can't remember. It was a different version of Wonder Woman. I can't remember because I'm not super DC savvy. I can't remember what exactly it was, but she had like a big star on her back, I think, and 2 on the front or something. So
yeah, McFarlane will do that before he does a regular Wonder Woman.
Oh yeah.
Heaven forbid, right?
For some reason, he won't do a regular Wonder Woman.
This was a figure I did for a raffle. I did like a Black Lives Matter like fundraiser thing, and I wanted to do like a black superhero to kind of coincide with it. So even though I'm not a huge Luke Cage fan, I've always loved this like crazy 70s look. So I did it using a tombstone, and the arms are from a Silver Samurai.
And another black body, shirt body in the yellow. It's like,
yep.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Well,
when I've seen that tombstone torso, I was like, man, how come they not done a classic Luke Cage out of this?
But it's funny because now that we're getting one, they just did a whole new body. They didn't even use that. They just whatever, right? So
and even what's his name, Doc Samson had a similar outfit to that, and they never used it for him either.
I know. That would have been another opportunity.
Yeah. You could have knocked out 3 figures.
What'd you use for the belt on that?
That is from Thundra, which was the Hulkbuster wave.
Oh, her mail,
her
flail.
Yep.
Ah, cool.
Yeah, and then I just cut it and I just strategically placed it. I had to sculpt a little link in the back, but yeah.
Easy. It was cool though when they during the Netflix show how they paid a little homage to this look where he found the yellow shirt and he had that metal thing on his head.
So cool.
He looked at himself in the mirror. He's like, "No way."
Yeah, so cool. I love that too. That was great.
Another awesome classic.
People love this one. Man, it's crazy how much
great choice. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was gonna say it's amazing how much better that chair looks with a wash and a pre-paint. Like, yeah. I feel like a lot of it's just in the chair. But yeah, this was easy. This was just a G.I. Joe Duke. And then I swapped the lower legs and knees for MCU Doctor Strange, and that was it.
I was going to say, like, the G.I. Joe parts were a great choice for this.
Works perfect. I saw somebody else do this. I can't take credit. I can't remember what his name is, but I've credited him in a lot of my posts because I saw it and I actually saved his picture and put it into my to-do list. So, and then the head sculpt is from Casting Cave. So
he had the military.
That's the head I used. I resculpted for Saitama for One Punch Man.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool, nice.
I reshaped the sculpted the eyebrows, the cheeks, the nose, and the chin to make it more angular, like the Saitama.
Right. Yeah, no, it's a good head. It's a good head sculpt. I like that the eyebrows are sculpted in too, so I didn't have to like guess on the craziness because I know if I would have done it myself, I wouldn't have gone so crazy. But I like the crazy sculpt on the brows because like that's how they were in the cartoon, right? So
I like to kick myself when I ordered that. It's like I hit the order button and only got one. It's like, why did I just order one? That head I could use for so many different things.
good head sculpt. It's good head sculpt.
Yeah.
The hardest thing with that one was the G.I. Joe's neck pegs are like super long. So I ended up having to actually like cut the pole off of it and then like glue just the ball into the hinge, like and like properly attach it using like a little screw. Because like I kept trying like before I was able to lock down the casting cave one, I kept looking and he never had it in stock. So I just was using the one from the Marvel Legends release. And I like literally dremeled it like right to the top of his head because like I couldn't fit it like with the long peg in there, right? So I had to cut that peg out. And
yeah, some of the newer Joes they've reduced the height of that peg, and some of them are actually going away with the hinge altogether and doing a double wall peg.
Oh, okay. How's that work? And do you find that works better? Like, I feel like they can be done well, but I don't like when Marvel Legends does it because I feel like they haven't executed it well.
Yeah.
So
I think it's kind of stupid because you have a ball with this design here. It's best of both worlds. You got the disc end and the ball peg at the bottom.
Yeah.
So the neck will move side to side. So you get your tilt, and you get all the benefits of looking up and down.
Yes. Yeah. When you can do a double neck, it's fine, but Marvel hasn't been like Legends hasn't been doing that. They've just been using the peg.
There's only a few that actually did that with the MCU, Peter Parker and Ned Tupac.
Yes, yes.
The Peter, he's got the ball peg at the base and a ball peg at the top.
I'd love to see that more regularly. It would be great.
We got the.
This is a. I had a customer who wanted a Psylocke, a Ninja Psylocke with double jointed elbows, alternate heads. He kind of wanted like an ultimate version, so that way, like he could do whatever he needed to do. So yeah, this is another one where like this is probably one of the first female figures that I did where like I was super happy with how the head, the face paint looked. Like again, like I thought I made her look really pretty. So
yeah, she does.
This is a character I really hope they reuse that new Black Widow coming out.
Me too. As soon as they show that, I'm like, we better get a Psylocke on that.
Oh yeah.
Butterfly joints, the lower ball joint down here, and the diaphragm joint.
Yep. Proper articulation, so just basically up to date with the men. So Monkey Judas says I need to get the new 3-pack for Psylocke's head. Yeah, man, it's such a good head sculpt.
Yeah.
Honestly, I like the Mafex Psylocke, but if Marvel does one like Collector was just saying on that new Black Widow body, I'll probably swap Mafex out. Mafex's proportions are wonky. Like, I don't love it. So
they're hit and miss on their.
And it's very loose. Like mine's legs are like very, very loose. So yeah, this is a cool one. Rachel Gray. Yeah, I did this for the guy who I did that Warbird for actually. So yeah,
I like the FX pieces you did too.
Thank you. Yeah, again, I used that same stuff that I used on Beast's glasses for those.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So it worked out pretty good. But yeah.
Gary's tuning out.
Nope. See you, Gary. Thanks for swinging by, man.
Take care, Gary. Always a pleasure, man.
It's way late in the AM for him.
Yes, he's up late.
Battletoads.
So this is a cool one. So this is again Secret Santa. I was trying to like outdo my Street Shark from the year before, but so this one here, I wanted to do like some different expressions for the face, but I didn't want to sculpt 3 different head sculpts because I was like, that's exhausting. So what I did was I added magnets. I kind of made the face like blank and I added magnets and then I put like saran wrap on it and sculpted like the yellow mouthpiece basically on top. So that whole mouthpiece with the nose and everything actually comes off. And then I have one with kind of like a straight face with like a toothpick sticking out. And then I had one that was like I think it was like a open open mouth or something like that. So he had 3 different swappable ones, and then he had swappable hands like weapons. He had a giant boot add-on for one of the feet.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's cool, man.
yeah, this was a fun one to do. I like this
more
one.
super clean, bright
Yep.
yellow.
Yeah, and then I actually sent a letter to the guy who I made it for and said, like, I did this on the Spider-Man UK body, so if you wanted to do the others, you could use these bodies and you would be able to keep the proper heights. So, like, yeah, I kind of thought that through. This is another one of my favorites of mine.
Oh,
I love
oh,
this. I love this Sabretooth.
This is a body. It's like scream Sabretooth. But
Oh my
Hasbro will
God.
not use it.
Yeah, as soon as I saw it, I was like, that. As soon as that Omega Red body came out, I'm like, this body is meant for Sabretooth and Venom. Like, it's perfect for those two.
yeah.
Mm.
Like the proportions, the thickness in the thighs, the broad shoulders, like the butterfly joints. It all works.
Oh yeah,
So
It-
yeah, I love it.
it makes perfect sense. That's why Hasbro will not do it.
Every once in a while, they get it right. I can't.
Yeah.
I always say it's like it's so easy to shit on them because they make it easy,
Oh.
but they do a lot of great stuff. But yeah, there also is a lot of stuff where I'm like, guys, you have the parts, you have it already. You don't even have to do new shit. It's just
A box set with random should have been on this body.
yeah, I agree. Yeah, definitely.
The random's huge, and then they didn't even make the shape shifting arm detachable.
That would have been great. Would have been nice. Like when I did my random, I put magnets in the arm. So like the single jointed elbow, I put a magnet where the hole would go for the peg, and then I put magnets on the inside so that way it would just snap into place and you could just pull it off and put a regular arm on. So cool. I'll send you some pics. Gmail. Okay, no worries, man. I'll hit you up back. Don't worry. Tonight. This was a cool project too. This was a Sentinel built on a 12-inch Iron Man figure.
Oh.
Wow.
Yeah,
Very
a lot of sculpting. He's very, very heavy. And I won't lie, he has not aged well because his weight has made his joints very, very loose. So
Yeah, that's the problem when you're using a lot of sculpt, right?
yeah. I want to say this guy's like 2.5 pounds. He's heavy.
Oh,
He's
wow.
very heavy.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Well, he's an older model Sentinel, so he's not as holding up as well. So.
That's right. That's right. He just kind of hangs out in the back. So
Hey, dude, he's battle damage.
He needs to make.
Battle damage.
He needs to go see the Master Mold.
Master Mold. Yeah, he needs a touch up. Yeah. Yeah.
They got the Silver Samurai.
Yeah, this came out. This is another old one that I did like
And
well
this
before we got
wild concept, he's actually silver.
I know,
Bro,
right?
that's what he should be.
This is where I actually first used that Montana Gold Chrome spray paint.
Hmm.
So yeah, I bought it with this in mind. That was where I first started using it. So I like this, and this was a fun piece to do. So I always wanted a Silver Samurai on my shelf. I used to remember my old 5-inch Toy Biz one that was all chromed out. So really wanted something comparable.
This is cool.
This is my what if. There's a sad story behind this one, but this is my what if Spider-Man was on the 90s X-Men team. So this was a pretty fun piece to go. This unfortunately got lost in the mail and never made it to its final home.
Oh no,
So the person who I made this for never actually received it.
that's awful.
I know it's partially his own fault, but I hate to say that, but like he like left it at the mailbox for like way too long, and then like I don't know where it ended up going, and yeah, it's
Lost Mill,
yeah,
Dead Zone.
I know it's such a bummer because I really like this one, and it's cool because this one actually sparked a lot of like I got a lot of love from it, and I actually had a guy who was inspired to like draw a bunch of 90s style artwork and use this. So he like drew like some 90s style Jim Lee style pictures like of this Spider-Man in this costume, and he sent it to me and he's like, oh man, I wanted to share this with you because inspired by the figure. And I was like, oh man, this is so dope.
You know what? I would put this thing on my freaking X-Men shelf for sure.
Ah, me too, for sure. I actually gave him some cool. I didn't really like. I screwed up the eyes on the mask that I preferred. I gave him like a Gambit style mask, so he had like hair exposed, and then
Oh,
like his,
kinda like
his
the,
eyes were still, his eyes were
kinda like
still there, but
Spider Boy, like that.
very
Yeah.
similar to Spider Boy, yeah. And then his unmasked head with Peter Parker, I gave him like a '90s like a boy band almost haircut, right, where it's like kind of parted in the front, and he had like some headphones like with on attached to a Walkman that was magnetic and it could stick to his belt.
Oh man,
It was pretty cool. It was pretty cool. This is
It
another
is.
one that like this is probably another one of my favorites still to this day. Like I don't have them in my display anymore. I swapped them, but this was close to the end of my original to-do list for all of my customs I wanted to do, and I just couldn't figure out how to do it. So he kept moving down the list because I'm like, how do I do this? Like, how do I make this crazy proportioned dude? So yeah, this was a challenge, but a good challenge. It was really fun. I had fun doing it, but yeah, it was difficult.
did you sculpt all those wrinkles?
I sure did.
Oh
That's
wow!
amazing work. And
Yeah.
you can see the lines on the zipper. That's crazy.
Yeah, man. Well, I mean, I guess it's easy when it's that big. Like, it's easier when you're working with a bigger space like that, right? So,
I'll
and
make
then
it
that
harder.
head was a
See,
Marvel
that's much
Select.
harder now. See,
Yeah,
I'll
exactly.
make it-
And then that head was a Marvel Select Thanos.
it works out great though.
Yeah, turned out really good. I really like this piece. He didn't move well, but you could only do so much when you're that top heavy and those tiny
Mhm.
legs, right? So,
I'm still at the freaking arms there.
thanks. Yeah, that was a lot. That was when I first started learning how to do like sculpted, like puffy jacket, kind of like wrinkly jacket kind of textures. So this is a fun one too. This was a toad I did for the same guy who I sent to sent that Spider-Man that got lost to. We used to do one-on-one swap. So this is the first swap I did with him. I did a toad.
Did he get this one?
He did get this one, yes. Yeah, I used a mix of Spider-Man UK and Wolverine body for this. So
Okay, cool.
to kind of give him
Yeah.
like a shorter, like wider stature.
I like the fact that most people automatically want to make their Toad on a Doc Ock figure. I don't know why. I always visualize Toad as being smaller and more agile, like he's got to
Yeah.
be. You know what I mean? Like,
There's different versions though, right? Like what my friend
Yeah.
wanted is he really liked the Mystique led Brotherhood of Evil Mutants version where he's like kind of more menacing and skinny and
yeah,
small. But like if you go back to like the original Brotherhood of Evil Mutant stuff from like the classic comics, he's more like in line with like a Doc Ock where he's like more portly,
yeah.
right? So thanks guys. Really appreciate all the kind words. Thank you. Favorite of my customs? It's so hard to pick. I don't know. Like I think Street Shark is still pretty close to the top there for me. Strong Guy definitely holds a
Rip X-Men Spider-Man.
yeah. I do like some of the stuff I've been putting out lately. I'm pretty excited to show off what I've made for Summer Swap this year. Pretty cool piece, man. I'm amped to be able to share that. So hopefully in probably about a month or so, I'll be able to share that. So
Trevor Fitzroy.
that's right.
I
Yeah,
have no idea what that is.
yeah, this is just another X-Men baddie from the 90s. This was done for Morning Wolf Customs. We did a swap last year, and
Should know it's Marvel. It's purple and green.
Yep, of course, of course.
We were just talking about that yesterday.
That's the thing with them; they always use the same color palettes, right? It's lots of purples, lots of greens. Yep.
Oh, this one turned out great.
Yeah, this is another cool one. Tusk.
I love all the scales on the back.
All one-on-one, man. I did each one individually. Again, it was just layer by layer.
And one of their best big body sculpts too.
Yeah, I love the Caliban body. It's great. I actually have pieces put together for a commission I'm doing hopefully later this year. A Savage Dragon.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna be heavily modding it, but I'm basically gonna add like a diaphragm joint, and I'm gonna use the Caliban upper body and arms for it, and then I'm gonna have it go from that to like an Omega Red body to like a Hyperion body and legs. So
Okay, cool.
really
Yeah, Nico, we took Villain Customs.
Yep.
he's done custom diaphragm joints.
Yeah, I've done a couple. Strong Guy had one. Who else had? I've had a couple. It's escaping me, but I've done a few.
And it's really cool. You made 2 identical little.
Yeah, those are done using Marvel Universe Wolverine figures.
Okay,
Oh,
cool.
nice.
Yeah.
Oh, the Sentinel one, right?
I'm not sure. I found 2 at like this toy store we have here. I found 2 loose ones for like dirt cheap.
Yeah, I know a lot of people are getting rid of the ones that came with the Sentinel.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I got one sitting over on my shelf. And it looks about like it.
It didn't really matter because as long as it had the same base body, I just wanted them to be the same, right? So like the head, I took one of the Wolverine heads and I made the head for the underlings, and then I just like used a blue stuff cast and just made a second one for the other one. So.
As much as I love this body and the sculpt of it, it's too small for Drax the Destroyer in his classic costume that your Hasbro's doing.
You think it's too small for him?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
He was sometimes depicted as even bigger than the Hulk.
Oh wow, really? I didn't know that. I know the look, but I never really read classic Drax stuff. So
plus the purples are way off.
Yeah, they're like a little like animated Green Goblin looking. Like they're a bit too bright for. Yeah, I like the look of the figure though. I think it does look cool. But
it looks anything's on this body, it's going to look good.
Yeah.
The Moon Dragon. Oh, that's terrible.
I would have preferred a classic, more classic inspired. I understand why they didn't, but
if they did her like 60s look, or like where his first appearance,
I guess,
it's more like a one-piece suit, like a Power Girl.
Yeah.
In the 90s, it went more extreme to like dental floss, but
I
understand not doing that one. But her classic look was very subdued. She had like the lump. It's just a standard.
The choice they did was a bit weird, but I mean,
plus the head sculpt on that Moon Dragon, her head's tougher, head's flat.
Oh, I didn't even notice that.
This looks bad.
I think they looked cool enough, but I was like, I'm not really collecting that at this point. So,
especially with doing classic Drax, then do his daughter in like a modern look.
I know it's weird, right? That's what I thought too. I was like, I thought maybe I missed something. Maybe,
yeah.
This is a fun one too. Ultimate Iron Man, yeah. So this is this is another one where I did a diaphragm joint myself. This was I took pieces from this wasn't. This was using a War Machine, my bad. This is I took pieces from the Marvel Select Ultimate Iron Man, the legs, the gauntlets, and the head and the shoulder pads, and then I made them mix into an Endgame War Machine.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. It's fun.
That's an Iron Man that really need to revisit since we got updated Ultimate Cap, so we might as well just get us an Ultimate.
I was just gonna say that as soon as I saw Ultimate Cap, I'm like, oh, they're gonna do Ultimate Iron Man. That'll be cool.
Oh yeah.
So.
And really cool.
This is a very specific version of. Again, this was for a new collector. This is the American Zealot. U.S. agent. So this was done on a Deathlock torso, gung ho legs. I can't remember what I used for the arms, but yeah, this was a pretty fun one to do as well.
I love the sculpt on the collar and
Thank you.
On the shirt. You fold it down.
Yeah, the fold down. Yeah. Yeah, this is a cool one. This I wasn't familiar with the look when he sent it to me, but I was like, that's pretty cool. At the time
that might have been when he was kind of like basically kind of villain versus Sam Wilson Cap.
I think this run he was good. I think he was working for the government.
Okay.
And I might be wrong. I only read a little bit because I was looking for source pictures. So
I'm so out of touch with modern comics.
Too, man. Me too. It is a more modern one, but I actually did this one when I picked it because I was working. I was watching Falcon Winter Soldier. So
the updates to the head too looked nice.
Yeah, I sculpted that part. I can't remember what I used for the actual head itself though.
It looks like the Shield Agent body, like the old Hasbro Shield Agent body, Captain America body head.
I don't know if it was because I don't think I had one of those. I can't remember what I used.
You know what I like about this figure as well is he actually looks big.
Yeah,
he looks proper size for John Walker.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, that was one of the things. Like Seth, new collector's very specific. Like usually when he picks something, he tells me what body he wants me to use because he's very particular about scale. So
Yeah, well, he's supposed to be bigger than Captain America. So.
yeah, that was his thing, right? So he wanted him bigger. This was a fun project, man.
It looks like a fun project. to do.
So this glass maker who makes bongs reached out to me, and he was like, "Hey, man," he's like, "I love Usagi Yojimbo. I want to have a version of Usagi Yojimbo where he's like super baked. Could you make it?" And I was like,
I was going to say he looks baked.
100%. Like, I am so in on this. So I sculpted that head. And yeah, once I did it, I was like, oh my God, he looks so baked, man. He looks so baked.
I see that like a lot of people seen the commercial like the Canadian cops pulled over these couples high in the car. We're going to do a field sobriety test. I'm too high for this.
I mean, it's super common here now just because it's legal, right? So you don't have any issues. Like you can like fly with it here, so it's not an issue. But yeah, this was a really fun project. So I shortened some Shang-Chi legs. I did like, the feet were all done from scratch. The head was done from scratch. I had like the cloth scarf tails on it. Yeah, this was a really fun one. I did some like chainmail. We kind of like did like a mix between the animated one. Yeah,
I'll be right back.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so we kind of did like a mix between like the animated version and the old toy version. So we did like the black pants with like kind of like the more like Playmates inspired like chainmail kind of like chest guard thing, and then like the blue sleeves from the animated series too. So, and then he came with like some funny, like he came with like a joint. He came with like a torch to like light it. He came with a bong, and he came with some carrot nunchucks. So I did like a wired nunchucks, and then like instead of having like nunchucks on the ends, they were carrots. So
you know what? The story behind this and the custom itself, I think, just won the internet today.
Yeah, when he messaged me and asked me, I was like 100%. Like I'll for sure do that for you.
Oh, so, the head's just perfect.
Yeah, I love the head. Once I got the head down, I was like, oh my God, this is so good. Yeah, it's so good. Monkey Jiva says, I could ask Stan to draw Usagi High. I've known Stan for over 20 years. That's crazy. Over almost 30 now. That's wild. Yeah, I'm a big Usagi Yojimbo fan too. So like, yeah, when like at the time when he asked me, like there was no NECA figure either, right? So
yeah,
but yeah, I had a blast making this figure. It was really, really funny. It was a good one. So I'll answer some of these questions. So Lar A says, what's the typical type of work you do to get an NL torso to work with a G.I. Joe classified waist? So with that one, the only tricky part was the good thing about that one was the thighs actually popped right off of the like the ball joints on the G.I. Joe figure, which was good. Mm-hmm. But getting them to fit nicely onto the Marvel Legends torso was trickier because those were drop downs. And when I put them on the Marvel Legends body, they were super, super loose. So I usually to fix like loose joints like that, I usually use like a little bit of hot glue and like Vaseline to kind of like stop it from sticking and just fill it in. So it was pretty easy. It wasn't that bad.
Oh, sorry about that.
That's all good. So this one is, again, like we were talking about Sabretooth earlier. I really wanted to do a Venom on an Omega Red body. Unfortunately, sometimes you learn things the hard way. And I ended up dyeing this figure because I was like, I'll just dye it black. And now you can actually kind of see it in the picture, but where the abs are, like the dye has started to kind of come through that white paint. So like in my display, like it has like very prominently come through that white. So it's unfortunate, but so don't dye your figures if you're going to paint over them.
Yeah, I struggled with my hard case.
Yeah.
Every time I would put sealer on it, the dye would bleed through.
Yep.
So I finally gave up and painted it with testers, acrylics, and no bleed through no more.
Oh wow, really?
Yep.
It comes through. I've had I mean, I've had varying successes, right? Like it's not the thing I find. I actually said it to Gary this morning because he was dyeing some stuff for one of those like proton iron Wondermans he's making, but like I like it's unpredictable. That's the biggest problem with dye is like you don't know how well it's going to take to the stuff, and even when it does, sometimes it bleeds through, sometimes it doesn't.
Now, anytime I try to put lacquer, any of my lacquer based paints over top of it,
Yep.
the dye would bleed right through immediately.
I mean, oh really? Eh? Yeah, it usually takes a bit of time for me because I only use acrylics, but yeah.
Yeah, acrylic, even like the Tamiya, like acrylics, it would bleed through.
Yeah.
When I used the water based testers, it was fine.
That's interesting. I'll have to try to find some of that.
Yeah, well, it's kind of impossible.
I know.
I say that, let me pull it off the shelf, make sure I'm not lying. Nope, he's still blue.
That's sick. That's a great looking figure.
I dyed it black, then I put the blue over top.
Nice. I find that sometimes it's safe, right? Like I didn't really have the issues on the arms and the legs on this figure. Like even on the backs of the hands where the white is on the hands, I didn't have issues. It's just that one spot on the torso. It's not even the whole torso, just the bottom.
But as soon as I would put a sealer over top of that, though, even with the testers,
yep, it
would turn back black.
That's crazy. I've tried Monkey Jeebus. I've tried a lot of different things. I've tried an alcohol bath. I've tried just soaking it in dish soap and water for like a week. And like the water still comes out like black every time I empty it. Like every couple of days, it still like seeps out. Like, yeah. I've tried to do like super glue over top and then paint to like create like kind of like a barrier and still comes through. So this is Warbird. She was done for the same person that I did Rachel Summers for.
Wow.
She turned out amazing.
She was very fun to do. She was challenging to like navigate, but once I figured out what I was doing, it was a fun build. So
she got so much techie looking like a futuristic armor and samurai, kind of a mix between samurai and tech armor.
Yeah, I love how she's armored up, but then her whole chest is exposed.
Yeah.
It's to distract their opponent.
So for this one again, like I utilize the same bendy wire thing that I did with Banshee for her cape. She kind of has the same idea in the back there, kind of comes off of like her shoulders. And then like I did floating pieces over her wrists for her hand guards, and because she had those weird things around her ankles, I was worried I was going to lose articulation, so I had those floating as well. So I built them out of green stuff. I slid them off and put them back on when the time was like once I was done painting. So
very cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
The black and white stuff like that just looks so stunning.
Yeah, they pop pretty good.
And
this is an oldie.
And Hasbro just copied it here earlier.
Hasbro just did it. Yeah, I like this Yondu a lot. This was a cool one. I actually decided on doing this one because I found a face that I really liked. I thought fit the character really well. So that's a Draken or Draken or however you say it, Wolverine's son.
I was going to say that. I think that's what I thought it was. With
yeah. So once I had one in my fodder box, and I was like, man, that works really perfectly for Yondu. I feel like it's like it works well. So I did that one and
the difference between yours and Hasbro's, these are actually sculpted.
Yes, I sculpted those. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I like sculpted details where I can. Right, it adds a bit more to it. Sometimes I don't. It depends on a couple different things, but yeah, I definitely like to sculpt where I can. So
there was use a Sunfire body.
Sunfire body, yeah. And then I did. I think I took those Buccaneer cuffs from the Grim Reaper and I just hollowed them out and like slid them over and sculpted them into place, basically. So
yours has a lot better looking feet than Hasbro's. They use those big clown feet.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Oh, because they used the morph
boots.
Right? Yeah.
And those feet are just huge.
Yeah, they're pretty silly sized.
Well, that comes to the end of your customs. We'll change gears now and do a little bit. We got some questions for you.
Sure, that sounds great.
Little Q&A.
I like it.
Let's see. How long have you been into customizing?
I actually said to my wife the other day that like I've been on so many shows for the last month, and I keep giving different answers as I've like rewatched them. I realize every one I say something different. I think it's been. I think I'm like approaching 9 years. So yeah, it's been a minute. So yeah, eight or 9 years, something like in that ballpark. But
I'll get caught up on the. We'll do some more questions when we get caught up on the chat a little bit.
sure.
Yeah, I think questions in green.
All right.
Number 7.
What or whom inspired you to start customizing?
Well, I decided to start customizing because I really liked Marvel Legends, what they were putting out for like the MCU stuff and the Spider-Man stuff, but they weren't doing X-Men. And because X-Men is like my number one property, I was like, I need to have X-Men on my shelf, because all I had was like I had gone back and picked up some Toy Biz X-Men, but man, I hate the aesthetic of the old Toy Biz figures. They're lanky, they're weird, and just wasn't really my cup of tea. So yeah, so I really wanted to kind of fill in those teams with like proper looking Legends comparative to like the stuff that we were getting at the time. So that's kind of where it started. And like I said, I built a list of what I wanted to do and just started tackling it. So, and then once we started getting official X-Men figures, I kind of backed off a bit. But by that point, I had already done like all the blue, all the gold team, most of the X Factor team. So yeah.
Yeah, there's only a few Toy Biz figures that still really hold up.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Is there any specific customizers that influenced you to want to start customizing?
Yep. Craig Warwick was probably, and Glenn Webb were both kind of like the starting point. Again, it was, and I, it's an unoriginal answer, but the fact of the matter is like they're pioneers of this community and this hobby, and like, like I remember like watching videos of theirs and like feeling like leaving the video feeling like I could do this, like,
yeah,
and you know what I mean. And it's like that they're a huge part of why I customize. Like, if it wasn't for them, I probably wouldn't be doing this, because while people like Collector Express and other people on the Foosh were very open to sharing their knowledge, the inspiration really came from them kind of saying like, you can do this too. All you got to do is just, do this. And they were very good about breaking down the process in their videos, and they had their tutorials and stuff. And so, yeah, I would definitely say it started there. But to be honest with you, like, even as I progressed, I always find inspiration in other people's work. Like, that's the best thing about the customizing community, is it's like,
yes,
everyone piggybacks on everybody else, and it's inspirational. And it's like I use like Morning Wolf as an example. I'm a huge fan of his work, but he's even said to me many times, like, I customized because of you. Like, I watched your lives on Instagram all the time, and it motivated me, inspired me to just take a chance and try stuff, and you were very open with sharing your knowledge. And it's like, it's cool because he's customizing partially because of me, and like I am very much inspired by the work that he puts out. So it's really kind of come full circle, right? And it's cool. Like I love that.
Our motto here on this channel is like, we try to let people know that, reach out. You know what I mean? Reach out to people. Like, you never know. I know back like when we first started customizing, the Foosh we all sort of the three of us here sort of started out back there, and it was an ugly place at times, because they were kind of cruel to newbies, if you were to ask a question there, you got, there were a lot of wise asses on that forum.
And they're still around, like on some of the Facebook groups, like people asking like serious questions, and you get smart aleck responses.
Yeah. And we just tell people, don't be afraid. Like, don't let that rub you the wrong way. Always reach out, because there is a good community out here, and
Totally.
That's what we try to influence that on our channel all the time here, right? So
yeah, I think like I always used to say, it's like, you can message 10 people and one might message you back, right? And it's like, but it's just like you kind of have to remember and you kind of strike up those conversations, right? And then again, just like not being too proud. Like that's another thing is you get customizers who just think they're better than others, right? And it's just like
of course.
you can't grow if you're not willing to accept the fact that what you're putting out isn't the best sometimes. You like that's how we get better, right? You know, as soon as you say that this can't be improved, like you're done. Like you've hit a wall. You're not going to be able to move past that. Like it's just, yeah. So, but it's a big part of why I like, you know, I answer the majority of the questions that get thrown my way. Nothing is a secret to me. It's all open. Like I'm an open book. So
Yeah. You sort of answered the next question slightly. I was going to ask you, like, what other customizers do you look forward to seeing their work presently?
There's a lot, man. Honestly, like you know, I mean, like Collector Express, you're doing a lot of really cool Ultraverse stuff. That's like, you know, that's like a blast from the past for me. Like, I just that takes me back to hanging out in my room reading Wizard magazine. Like, it's so cool, right? But I mean, like, there's a lot of people
and for all the youngsters, that's where we used to get all our comic news from.
That's
Wizard
right.
magazine.
That's right. But you know, like I said already, again, like Morning Wolf's great. I really like Token Customs. He's another guy who I feel like has really like upped his game a lot in the last little bit. One Oak Customs, very inspirational. Man, there's so many. Like, and again, like even you know, I fail to mention my friends that I talk to on a regular basis, but like New Collector Customs, another one who like. Yeah, I mean, he's slowed down a lot over the last few years, but like, you know, there was a point where he was putting out like
he was a machine
4
there for a
customs
long
a
time.
month. Like he was, you know, he was insane, right? So, there's inspiration all around us, and again, like this community has only gotten crazier and more impressive as we've moved along, right? Pounds is another one. You know, certain people I look forward to certain things because I just, you know, they kill it, right? So, yeah. There's so many.
What do you enjoy the most about customizing?
I mean, in terms of like the actual art of customizing, I really like sculpting. Sculpting is the thing I enjoy the most.
I kind of guessed that part.
Yeah, I do like sculpting, particularly armor. I like sculpting armor. I like layers and layers and layers, like that kind of stuff really scratches my creative itch. But I mean, like in terms of like what customizing does for me, like it's like an escape. It's a good way to channel my my passion for art and for comic books, and I just like that if you can envision it, you can bring it to life, and I like that, right? So I also really like there's like I find just sitting down and kit bashing, I find that extremely therapeutic. Like,
oh yeah, it's like
just figuring out what fits and what doesn't, and
simple kit bashing. It can just very good therapeutic exercise.
Yeah, I can have a super stressful week and just sit down and pour a bunch of parts out onto a table and see what I can put together, and it's great. So
I just kit bashed the new Yelena Black Widow figure because
I saw you were switching the arms and stuff out, right?
I actually did. The only things left from the actual Yelena is the upper torso, the head, the feet, and the belt. The rest of it's all Shriek.
You moved it all to Shriek,
and the hands are hers too.
Okay.
Well, she didn't. Yelena didn't have
double jointed elbows, right?
No bicep swivel, double jointed elbows.
Yeah.
Those horrible legs.
The skinny legs.
No, it's the worst ones. It's the ones that can go together, right?
Oh yeah, those suck. Yeah.
Like you try to put them together, and they just like.
Yeah, and I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I hate that too. That Shriek body is a great base.
I'm thinking I'm going to be making a trip to Ollie's tomorrow and
see if you can pick up a few.
They got them. Last time I was there, they had like 9 of them for like $10 a pop.
Ah, see, that's great. Yeah, we don't get good prices like that in Canada. So,
and I just got an Ollie's coupon for 10% off full order your main purchase.
Ah, there you go. That's great. Yeah, I try not to buy fodder unnecessarily because I literally have an unhealthy.
There's a few exceptions. That same way, it's like Shriek, I can always put the use.
Yeah. I find I have like they're the same. Like I have certain figures that I always have a couple of, just so that way I have them when I need them, right? So
yeah. What tools and materials do you like to custom with? Like types of paint brushes, the kind of paints do you like the most? Sculpting materials.
for sculpting, I feel most comfortable using Abe's epoxy sculpt. I do
You
dabble.
master that too.
Yeah. I just find it's like forgiving. Like if you need to take it off, unless you're like literally coating a leg, it's it's pretty easy to get rid of if you're unhappy with it. I like that it blends really easy. I like that it sands really easy, and you can get those really nice, like you were talking about with that Ahab and the shoulder pads. Like, that's all just Aves, right? So it's just a matter of you do it, you sand it, you've got some uneven parts, so you fill it in with a little bit, sand it again, and it's just yeah. So I sculpt I would say I sculpt 90% of my stuff with Aves epoxy sculpt, and then like I fill in with like green stuff. I've recently just started using green stuff, probably in the last few years, but I quite like it. I feel like it's good for stuff that needs some durability, and things that are really thin, like hair and like.
I find green stuff works really well with organic sculpting.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Hair, like facial beards, or like it's so easy to.
But like like I used to use Procreate, and like I try to avoid Procreate where I can. Like I really struggle with it. It's difficult.
I can't get it out of the plastic.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely that too, but it's just like I just find like I always compare it to like sculpting with like chewed bubble gum. Like you've been chewing this bubble gum for an hour and a half, now you're gonna sculpt with it, and it's just like the people who sculpt exclusively, like there's people like Pim Particles and like even Morning Wolf, like they sculpt pretty exclusively with Procreate, and I'm just like,
I find with Procreate it's useless unless you have green stuff sculpting Vaseline.
Yeah, well, I use rubbing alcohol. I haven't used Vaseline yet, but I really should try, because what ends up happening with my work in progress is it looks like they've got like someone like money shots all over them, because like when you use the rubbing alcohol, it like goes into all the crevices and stuff, right? It's just it's not a good look. So yeah.
All right.
In terms of paints, I really like P3. That's kind of like my go-to, but they're really I'm not a strong color mixer, so like I have a really hard time matching paints like to existing paints. And I find the restriction with P3 is I feel like their palette's really limited. Whereas like Citadel has like every color under the rainbow, so I use a lot of Citadel too. But like I always use P3 where I can, because I just feel like it has good coverage. It's very consistent from color to color. And again, like, when it comes to those lighter colors, yellows, whites, I feel like the coverage is really, really good. Like even that Banehead, like I'm so impressed with how white I got that. And I did that white over black. I didn't even prime it. I just went white over black, and I still got it to the point where it pops like crazy. And that's just P3 white. I just water it down.
Is that straight out of the bottle, or do you have
straight out of the bottle? Yeah, I mean, I water it down. Like when I paint, usually out of the bottle, like I usually like keep a little shot glass of water, and I'll like dip my paintbrush in the water, dip it in the paint, and then kind of just like I water it down a little bit as I go, right? Like
okay, yeah.
But basically,
one of the regulars from the channel that was asking the other night about he got the Stacy Kubler figure and just want to do a head swap and repaint it to be a Lois Lane, like in like the animated colors.
Oh, okay.
Purple, and so a black skirt. He needs to paint white, so that P3 sounds like it'd be perfect what he needs.
It would be. P3 has the white in particular. Do I have it out? No, I don't have it out. It's called Moro White. This white here.
Nice. Moro White.
It's great. It's the best white I've ever used. I find it's difficult to find in Canada. So when I do find it, I stock up. But
understood.
Yes, you would know. And then in terms of brushes, honestly, man, like I don't take good enough care of my brushes to buy fancy ones. So I kind of just buy whatever's on sale and make it work until.
I'm the same way. I buy like the $10 $10 packs off Amazon or go to the local Hobby Lobby and get some like the detail brushes and hobby section.
Same here. I'm not really loyal to any brush. I'm too bad with taking care of my stuff to to do that. So I just replace them every 4 months.
And
or so.
when they when they wear out, they make great dry brushing paint.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. I have a whole drawer of them.
Because we're hoarders, we don't throw them out.
We can use them for something.
Well, we're always dry brushing, so we can always use old brushes.
Yeah, old brushes for dry brushing are the best, especially if you're doing hair or something like that, or like denim or.
Best.
Yeah.
Okay. I know you mentioned not being a big DC guy, but if we were to ask, what's your favorite DC character, and why?
I'm just not attached enough to DC to even be able to answer the question. If I'm being honest, my mind always goes to Batman because Batman's very similar to Spider-Man to me in the sense that it's less about the hero and more about the villains. I really like again, and it's not that I'm reading it, but like I really like the aesthetic of Batman's villains in particular. It's one of those things where like whenever somebody asks me to do a DC figure, I'll say no unless it's a Batman villain. Then I'll say yes. So it's like I did Ivy, I did Bane. I'd really love to do a Scarecrow. I'd really love to do a Two-Face, a Riddler. Yeah. So it's hard to say because like literally, it's not that I don't like DC. I've never been attached enough to the property to like even give it a chance.
I've always said though the two characters who have the most and probably craziest villains is Batman and Spider-Man. Like
totally. Like I do love Spider-Man.
Yeah.
But I wonder how much of that comes like departed from the fact that I just love his villains. They're just.
I think the same can be said for Batman. Would he be as popular if he didn't have this rogue gallery?
Totally. Yeah. Totally. So,
what about for Marvel? Who's your favorite character and why?
Probably Wolverine has kind of always been. It's like lots of the top 5 have changed over the years, but like Wolverine's the constant. He's always been number one. Canadian. I like his power. I like how he's just like he wants to throw. I mean, the older versions of Wolverine. He likes to he'll fight and ask questions later. I like that.
That's the only version of Wolverine. I don't care about this modern stuff. Wolverine.
Yeah, well, it's weird how they switched him and Cyclops, right? Once we got to Schism, we kind of saw this flip where like all of a sudden Cyclops was kind of playing like that, shoot and ask questions later, and Wolverine started being like more
responsible and team leader. Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, I do like Wolverine's character development over the years, but I mean, my favorite Wolverine is like, classic 70s, 80s Wolverine.
Yeah, throw down.
Yeah,
ready to throw down.
Best at what he does, right? And like, that Wolverine's my favorite. I'd say Magneto's a pretty close second, but yeah, I'm a really big Wolverine fan. And again, he's Canadian, so
yeah. That doesn't hurt.
That doesn't hurt. That doesn't hurt.
They still have yet to had a Canadian Playboy.
You what? Sorry?
There has yet to be a live-action Canadian Wolverine, though.
I know. So I also like that he was just like short and scrappy and just like I like that too, right? But yeah, and like the whole like raid like berserker angle that he gets to is just it's a lot of fun. So.
Independent comics. You got a favorite character?
The only independent comics I really got into were not really superhero-y. I really got into Saga for a minute there when I came back to comics in like the mid, 2015, 2014 kind of area. I'm not sure if either of you have read that, but I'm a pretty big fan of Saga. I thought that those are really good books.
I've heard of it, but never really.
Yeah, there's some really cool character designs. Like there's like Lion Cat, like this big blue cat. There's like a guy with like a TV for a head, and like it's just like they're like the story's really cool and like the designs are really cool. But yeah, anything before that, I used to really be into there was a time when I was younger where I was really into like Wildcats. So like I really liked Spartan, and Zealot was another one that I was like a pretty big fan of.
They had such cool designs, and
yeah, they did. They had cool.
I forget who made it for New Collector, but he's got a beautiful Zealot custom that somebody made him.
Yeah, Daryl Turner, Blueberry Customs did that one.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's great. It's really, really nice. Grifter was another one I liked. I like the Wildcats as a whole. Really, they were really great.
The character designs were so good for those.
They were, yeah. And then even farther back, I really liked Evil Ernie when I was younger, and really into those Wizard days, right, where I was. Following along to those independent comics through Wizard magazine. That was another one that I was a fan of.
Evil Ernie is currently owned by Dynamite.
I don't know. I'm not sure. Is he even relevant today?
When Chaos went under, they sold a lot of their properties, and Dynamite bought them.
So
that's what. That Dynamite actually owns the Chaos name, Evil Ernie, Purgatory, Chastity, and several other.
Oh, I didn't know that.
The Chaos characters, but the only character they didn't sell was Lady Death.
Oh, okay.
So when you pick up Coffin Comics, all the previous cast are gone, and you got Lady Death and a bunch of new characters. Interesting.
I also really liked Witchblade a lot growing up. I wonder why. And and I was also a pretty big fan of Theme too. So I guess I did like a lot of independent stuff.
Yeah,
none of it really held my attention like X-Men did. Even Marvel stuff, I jumped in and out of stuff, but X-Men was my constant. That was the only constant, really. So,
no. This is kind of tough, but what's your favorite action figure line?
Action figure line?
Yeah. So if you're gonna have to pick. Just say Legends or G.I. Joe Classified or Power Rangers. You know what I mean?
I'm really feeling the WWE stuff right now, but it's not up there as a favorite yet. I think if I had to say I can only collect one line, I would probably stay with Marvel Legends because again, it's my X-Men stuff, right? So and to be honest, and like I said, do I get frustrated with Legends? Yes, for sure. The price is ridiculous for what you get. At the prices we're paying, we should be getting accessories, we should be getting alt hands, we should be getting alt heads, power effects. We're not getting that. So do I get frustrated? Yes. But it's still the thing I buy the most of, I would say. But in terms of value, I really, really like NECA. I feel like I really get my money's worth when I buy a NECA figure. The Toon Turtles. You buy a pack of Toon Turtles, and you couldn't put another accessory in that box. You couldn't. They're the brim.
And they're $32, 30. Some are 32, some are 37 or 38.
Yeah, I mean it's I don't know.
Depends on the property and how much comes with it.
Exactly. I mean, I am a big turtle fan, so that does work in my favor.
I think
I'm buying gargoyles.
I think gargoyles run around about 38 now.
Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah. So, but again, you get your money's worth, right? You get 2 head sculpts, you get 2 sets of hands, you get accessories. With the gargoyles, you're getting the wings, you're getting the tail.
It doesn't play around, man.
No, that's what I mean.
And their sculpts are just beautiful.
They're top shelf, and they move well. And
now that they've
I would love to see them pick up Thundercats.
Oh, that would be cool. I always say if NECA picked up Ghostbusters, that's something, or something
Super 7 figures are crap.
Well, imagine NECA did. Imagine NECA did remember Cops and Robbers from the 90s? Imagine NECA did that.
Yeah.
Oh, be awesome.
The futuristic cop show, is that the one you're talking about?
Yeah.
That could actually go in the classified because it's actually the future timeline for G.I. Joe.
It is?
One of the characters is the son or grandson to Beachhead. Beachhead actually shows up in the Cops cartoon.
No way. It's so cool. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't have. I mean, the thing is I feel like Hasbro gives I don't G.I. Joe, but I feel Hasbro does a great job with the classified series. So, yeah.
I would be totally cool if they actually did a spin-off line 6-inch a G.I. Joe classified style Cops.
I would buy that. So I would buy that for sure. Yeah.
Okay, now the question I just asked you, your answer was Marvel Legends. Now, the question itself is too simple, but I'm going to go a little bit more. It says, "What's your favorite figure in that line, either this year or overall?" But you know what? Us being customizers, I know we can make a figure better. So this is my question to you: which is probably like from this year or overall from Marvel Legends? Have you bought a figure and said, I don't have to do a damn thing to it? So what would be your favorite for that?
Again, it's hard to answer because I buy a lot and like I don't have time to fix everything, so I generally don't fix anything unless it's like really, really, really bad. There are some figures I think that have come out that are pretty decent this year. But I mean, they're always, the thing is with Marvel Legends is like they could always use some paint. So like, nothing has come out where I was like, wow, this has got great paint apps, because like they're pretty much unseen in the line, right? So it's hard to really say because I don't feel like there's definitely some standouts of the series, like like I really like that Pretty Boy Reaver that came in that Villains 5-pack.
A lot of people really wanted that one, yeah.
But again, like a wash would have taken that from an 8 to a 10. Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like the sculpt's there. You're giving us all. You're doing all the groundwork. Like, what does a wash cost? Like, you know what I mean? So, it's hard. Legends are hard because they're never perfect. They're always close, but they're never right there because they just don't want to put any paint on anything. So that's why NECA succeeds to me, is like NECA's got paint on everything, and it's just like
sometimes on their older figures in their joints, so that was bad.
Yes, sometimes too much. Yeah, but yeah, I mean that's the it's like even look at things like how much paint elevates. So again, using Hasbro, like I collect Power Rangers Lightning Collection. I recently picked up the remastered Blue and Yellow Ranger. It's amazing how much just a little bit of paint takes those figures to another level.
Exactly.
I pick up the Lightning Collection monsters every so often, and just when they're on clearance, and add a little paint to them, and they're just gorgeous.
Yeah.
Their sculpts are just yeah.
So is there an all-time favorite Marvel Legend that was released ever for you?
I mean, in terms of like playability, I still think some of my favorite, like Brown Suit Wolverine, particularly like the retro one, I really like. I don't like the claws. Like I have a whole shelf of Wolverines, and none of them have original claws because I hate those claws they use.
The only claws I like in Marvel Legends, the X-Force claws.
X-Force claws were nice.
Too. Sorry, I did keep the X-Force ones on those, and the Hot Claws one on the more modern Wolverine, but yeah. But yeah, Wolverine, I'd say like retro Brown Suit Wolverine, I like quite a bit. What else? Even though I didn't like the movie, I'm a big fan of that movie Venom figure. I don't like his feet, but everything else I'm a pretty big fan of. Renew Your Vows Spider-Man was pretty fun. Amazing Fantasy Spider-Man was very fun. Move really well. Nice looking figures.
Oh, you could actually use those movie Venom feet to make a live action Brie Larson.
Oh, come on. Venom feet aren't that bad. Sorry.
But yeah, I mean, there's a lot. Like even like we were talking about earlier, those yellow and blue costumes. Like it's cool when you get them all together. Like again, where Marvel Legends really is strong is like you can put them together and they all look like they belong, and I like that. Right? That there's something about having a collection that flows and looks like it's. Yeah, I love that display, man. I love that display. It's so cool. So, yeah. But I would say nothing. Honestly, there's no Marvel Legends that are perfect because they don't paint them, and that's
as much as I love that Galactus.
Yeah.
Why the hell did you didn't have a soundboard? The Universe one has a soundboard.
I could go without a soundboard, but again, let's talk about that Galactus. Like, look at all the sculpted detail, and look at the lack of wash on the sculpted detail.
Yeah.
And it's like it's
HasLab premium piece.
It's very noticeable when the scale is that big too. When they're that huge, it's very, very noticeable that
for the money
panel lines
for the money that they charged.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. A wash should have been included with the money people paid for that thing.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, my biggest frustration with Hasbro is, again, like, I'll buy it, and that's the thing is I'm easy to say, I'm easy to shit on them, but I still buy a lot of the stuff, and like
Oh, yeah.
I do like what we get, but it's just,
I'm a huge Transformers fan too. I got those all over the place too. So
you are a huge Transformers fan. I don't Transformer at all, so. But it's just, yeah, it's frustrating when you have great sculpt and no paint. It's frustrating when you pay, in Canada, a Marvel Legend is $43. Like,
and there's frustrations with these too, because as soon as I took us out of the box, he was floppy as hell, and I had to kiki him.
oh yeah, that's another thing too, right? You shouldn't have to do something to your figure to make it just stand there. Like,
Yeah.
Now I got a tough question for you. Well, kind of tough question. Normally, you can, off the top of your head, you can say one, but
okay.
What are your top 3 customs for you?
Okay, so Streaks from Street Sharks is definitely up there. I would say like Streaks. I would say Sabretooth, that 90s Sabretooth. And I had to pick a third.
The third one's always the problem, eh?
Yeah, well, it's because I don't want to leave something out that, like,
it's that number 3 is always gets you.
Yeah.
I can say top 2 right off the top of my head: Prime and Sludge.
Right. Yes.
But
I love your primes, man. You just do a good job with them. Every time you revisit it, it's just they get better and better. And then the third one, I mean, I could dance around a bit. Like, it kind of probably depends on the week, the day. I really like that Jin Satone I did last year. I thought that was pretty fun. But that Strong Guy was one of my favorites for a long, long time. I was just super proud of that. Right. So, let's say Strong Guy, because Strong Guy was really on that list for the longest time. Like, he was. Even when I replaced him, I was still in love with it. Like, that doesn't usually happen.
Those are 3 awesome customs right there. So,
thanks, man. Yeah. I would say, yeah, Street Shark for sure by far is like, it'll never not be my favorite. I just, again, because that was like the turning point for me, right? That was when, my following on Instagram really started to pick up. So,
actually, I'm gonna get your information to add you on Instagram. Gotta pick your brain about that Street Shark, actually, because I've been waiting to make a what's it called, a King Shark. Yeah. I don't like the Build-A-Figure. I got like the head and the torso, but I want to mix other parts with it. So when I get a chance, I'll message you one day and
sure.
And for those wondering, his Matchu's contact information is in the description down below.
Yes. Feel free to message me any questions. I love talking shop. So, and I'm usually pretty good at return rate. Like, I usually get back within a day. So, unless it's something that I really need to sit down and like think about, then it might take a couple days. But yeah, usually I get back to everybody. So.
And I got a question for you, and when you answer, I'm going to step away from the keyboard for it, but I'll have my headphones on so I can hear the answer.
Sure.
What is currently on your workbench at the moment?
Okay, so currently I am painting one figure that is a secret that I can't share, but it is almost done. I'm hoping to be finished. I'm hoping to finish it tonight and clear coat it tomorrow. I just finished Bane yesterday or the day before. I am going to be starting paint on my Punisher 2099 that I've been working on, which is basically just ready for paint outside of a couple little minor things. And I have Red Skull, Face Off Red Skull for Gary, also on deck, which I have just started sculpting. And then that's technically everything that's like prepped and ready, but I'll be soon getting ready to start the next 2, which is going to be a Hellion, an X-Men Hellion, which is another commission, and a Blood Axe, which is another commission. Yeah, I'm super excited. I actually didn't know who Blood Axe was, and someone who bought a bunch of figures off me when I did my last sale messaged me and was like, do you do commissions? And I'm like, I mean, I do commissions, but I'm very particular about what I take on because I don't want to just do something I don't like. So he sent me a picture, and I was like, "Oh my god, this is so cool! Please let me do this." So yeah, so Blood Axe is one of the ones I'm really looking forward to doing. I have a really cool recipe set up for it too. So
Oh, nice. So what? Since you have it close by, I just wanted to ask for anybody who just joined in after you showed it the first time. You mind showing that bane off you just mentioned?
Sure. Yeah. So his head's just sitting. I'm trying not to push it down because I've had some paint rub issues, and I don't want to ruin the paint on the neck any worse. So his head is sitting a little high right now, but yeah. So that's built on a Gamerverse Hulk with a head sculpt from Uncanny Sculpts. Tyler did
Well,
that.
I asked you to show it for the new people, but I don't mind seeing it myself again. So.
Oh, I actually another one I missed that's on deck right now that I'm almost finished sculpting. I'm super close. Is this? I'm actually doing a custom of myself as well. So.
Oh, sick!
Yeah, so I got a bunch of wacky accessories for him, and I got a custom head sculpt done by Clayman 3D Art, I think his name is. He did a face sculpt for me, and then gave me a bunch of different like expressions. So I have this like crazy like yelling face, and I have like this weird like face that I do sometimes. So yeah. Yeah, it's.
It needs a little action figure that comes with a magnet in the middle where you pull it apart. He's holding each half.
Well, I have like some paintbrushes. I have some sculpting tools that are 3D printed for him. So like,
you're gonna need though. You're gonna need to get a little 1/12 scale jar of yellow paint.
I should do that.
Just to show people that's your specialty.
This started because so I have a live stream on Wednesday nights called Whip Wednesday Live, where I customize live, very similar to what Collector Express does.
And everyone, if you haven't checked it out, it's a great streaming customizing stream.
It's very comparable, honestly. Like we do very similar stuff, right? So it's
yours is a little more intimate too, where you got one custom.
Usually
first person custom.
Yeah, usually, yeah. But yeah, if you're digging what Collector's putting out, then like you probably will find interest in what I'm putting out too. But yeah, I actually did this because I do weekly toy photography thumbnails for the show, and currently I use my character in my thumbnails is Deadpool, so I use a movie Deadpool. And I use him in like every shot. That's kind of like the constant. So the plan will be to slowly remove Deadpool by including myself into it. So and like in my mind, I kind of have like this whole story of how that goes, whether I end up unmasking Deadpool and it's me under the mask, or
that's cool.
I kind of have an idea of what I want to do, but
it's like when they unveiled like in the wrestling back in the day, it's like
totally.
It's like it was me, Austin.
It was me all along. But the main reason why this came about was I'm planning on doing more Blink-182 figures at the end of this year. And when I get to Travis, who is just coated in tattoos, I'm stumped as to how I tackle that. So I have a sleeve of tattoos. So I am going to take proper pictures of this. I'm going to flatten it out. I'm going to print some water slides, and I'm going to attempt to do a water slide tattoo sleeve on this. So that was the original thought about doing this figure was to test my water slide tattoo idea. So
I don't know if you are part of any of the Facebook wrestling groups.
I'm not. I'm still pretty fresh on wrestling, if I'm being honest. But
yeah, me too. Like I'm not really the biggest wrestling fan now. I was when I was younger.
Me too.
The glory days. But
yeah,
a lot of those guys are doing water slide tattoos because a lot of the wrestlers are.
Yeah, I've seen some. Like I've actually bought some stuff from Curb Stomp decal. Not tattoos. They were costume like designs and stuff for like some singlets and stuff for an Owen Hart I did. But yeah. So I mean the thing is I feel pretty confident I could find some pretty good source pictures for Travis's tattoos because he's a pretty popular guy in the music scene. So I'm gonna try it with mine first. I'm hopeful it'll work, and if it works well enough and it's easy enough, I'll do Tom's arm because Tom, the guitarist, has a sleeve on one arm, so I'll do his as well. And then I really want to do Travis with his shirt off because I don't ever see him drumming with his shirt on. So, but it's just like he's just literally coated from top to bottom. So it is a little bit daunting to be like, I don't know. I might just do the arms and do like a sleeveless shirt or something. I don't know. I'm still.
I guarantee you, if you go on Google and you just put up Travis just tattoos,
yeah,
they have it for a lot of celebrities. They'll actually have like clear pictures of all their tats. So that
perfect. Yeah, I haven't dived in too much, but yeah, I the plan was to try to find and again, because I figured he's a big enough name, I'd probably be easy enough to find, at least the big pieces of his stuff. Like I don't care if it's not 100% perfect, but if I can at least get like the big bits and then fill in the gaps with like little bits that maybe aren't as accurate, I'm cool with that. Like,
oh yeah.
It should work out really great because I've used make custom water slides, do like forearm hair and stuff. And
okay, cool. That's awesome. Yeah, I've been using custom water slides for a bit now, but this will be the first time.
That's what got me into using that microset because the only way you can get the form is soften.
Thank you for that, by the way, because that has been a game changer. So
yeah, they won't lay down without it.
They don't. Yeah, they end up just looking like tape on your figure, right? So actually, it's funny because my friend who taught me how to do the printing, like to print your own, I then went to him and was like, "Man, check this out! I got this stuff that I learned from somebody online," and so now he's all over it too. So yeah, it works really, really good.
All right. I know Collector Express mentioned earlier your information will be down in your information will be available on the stream. To anybody who's watching and is curious, do you accept commissions?
I'm selective, so I'm very booked up. I'm booked up till next year. This year I've done more commissions this year than I've done in a long time. So I think right now I've got about 7. I've done 2. I've got 3 in progress, and I have a few more coming. I do take commissions, but like I said, I'm selective. I won't do something that I'm not really excited by. So
yeah.
Anybody contacts Matchu, it has to be really cool.
Yeah, I mean, and again, cool is so subjective, right? Like if you're questioning, if you're interested, shoot, hit me up with a DM, send me some reference art, please. It's just easier than me saying send me reference art because again, sometimes we have different things in mind with what we're looking for. So if you have an idea, send me some pictures. Hey, can you do this? We'll talk. And like, if I'm interested, I basically add you to a list. I don't take any money up front. I kind of just say you're on the list. And when I get about 2 months out, I'll reach out for 50%. And then we'll go from there.
It's like we all have like our preferred look and artist in mind when we think about a character too. And
yeah, exactly.
Like, when I think of like the Smart Hulk, the merged Hulk, I think Gary Frank's artwork.
Right.
And I know both Del Keown and Gary Frank did it, but
that's what you think of in your mind, right?
In my mind, I think Gary Frank.
Yeah.
Well, it's
hey guys, I'm sorry, but I might have to wrap up here in a minute. I'm just waiting. My wife needs me to help her with some medical stuff. So I'm just seeing how long I have. I might have a couple minutes. I might have like 5 minutes.
Okay, well, let's look at the chat real quick and let's see.
Oh, she said 20 minutes, but yeah, if we can do like 15, just so we don't wait it too long.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's go through the chat here a little bit then.
Sure, that'd be great.
What was the hardest custom that you made from Name of Held?
Hardest custom?
Yep.
I mean, like that drywall, the guy with the zippers, that was a pretty tough one because it was hard to navigate, like removable little zippers and stuff. Like I would say anything, as soon as you get more complex where you're like having moving parts or removable pieces, those are really where the difficulty starts coming in without it looking like it doesn't belong, like, or it doesn't fit properly. So I would say like drywall is probably one of the more challenging customs I've done in recent memory. Yeah. And then like usually like those ones take the longest because I also drag my feet. Like what happens is I get stumped And then like I just want to step away for like a week or two, so it ends up just dragging the process out. But
It kind of goes along with this question from Bucks Cannons. Ever hit the wall with a custom you want to just do but couldn't find a solution you weren't happy with?
I mean, I think that as customizers, we are all our own worst enemies. So, you
Yep.
know, where most people will give me praise on something, all I see are the flaws in it. So I'm notoriously bad for shitting on my own work, but there actually has been a couple customs that I've actually had to step away from and just actually scrap entirely. Back in the day, I took a commission for Pudgy Pig, which is that big pig monster from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
Yes.
And he wanted it to match his Figure Arts Power Rangers, and I put quite a bit of time into it. I think I put about 30 hours into it, and I could not even just get the basic structure down. And I actually went back to him and said, you know what, really sorry, gave him back his money, and I just called it a loss. Because I said, like, even if I can get to the point where I finish it, I'm not going to be happy enough with it that I'm going to feel good about sending it out. So I had to just like let that go. So another one I did was I was trying to do a MCU style Captain America on a 12-inch Captain America Marvel Legend. And I really struggled with proportions because the proportions on those things are so comic booky.
Yeah.
I shaved down arms to break down that musculature so they weren't just like these muscle men. I was really trying to get like a really natural looking thing, but I found working in the scale of a 12-inch figure, it was just difficult. Yeah, I do too, dude. Me too. Cops figures would be so sick. Give me Long Arm. That's the guy I like the most. He was cool.
Oh yeah,
It's like Machine Man. So, but yeah, I would say those are the only times I've actually stopped doing a custom, and I was like, you know what? No, I still have both of them. Actually, no, sorry. Secret Santa last year, the Poison Ivy I did was it was kind of like a second choice. I started doing a Darkwing Duck, and I couldn't get the flow of a base body to work how I wanted it to. So I scrapped it. I had worked on it for a couple months and just wasn't happy with it. So, but I still have all three of those. But those are the only three customs I've started and then had to stop. So,
Hulk Smash, you want to do number 16?
Yeah, just wondering if other than customizing, are there any other hobbies you have?
To be honest, most of my time goes to customizing. I do really enjoy resetting my shelves, and that usually ends up taking away from customizing time because I do them all annually. This year's change, I'm going to try to be changing the way I do that. I've really tried to shift to I've changed the way I collect to I'm trying to like be specific about what I'm buying. So that way I don't have to keep finding room for stuff that I'm not anticipating. Obviously, that still happens. Like with the Jada Mega Man, I wasn't expecting. So I'm going to give space for that. Yeah, that is finished. I can show you that. Yeah, I think he's pretty accessible. I'm not super happy with Owen, to be honest. But it mostly worked.
Oh, that does look
it looks good.
Yeah, I don't like how the decals went on. I really struggled to get them to line up nicely, but I am happy with it. I sculpted the singlet and then just did some paint jobs on, like the paint job on the trunks, basically, and the boots. And
yeah, they haven't done any ultimates with singlets yet, have they?
Just Bret Hart.
Okay.
But he's a little too skinny. So, but yeah, if I would have had that at the time, I probably would have used it just to make my life easier. But
I wanted to pick up the Andre.
He's en route. Mine's coming. I got an email from Big Bad the other day. So
nice.
That's an iconic time in Owen's career too.
Yeah. I'm a big Owen Hart fan. I mean, I love Bret too, but Owen was one of my favorites for the longest time. So
they're such a talented family.
They really are. So I was a big. Yeah, I mean,
I still don't understand why he ever tried to do tombstone pile drivers and he broke two people's necks.
I know, it's brutal.
He broke.
I don't think they're allowed to do pile drivers anymore, are they? I'm pretty sure I think they banned that move. I don't think they're allowed to do pile drivers anymore.
When you're 7 foot tall, when you put somebody on your shoulders, when you do the pile driver, their heads are not touching your opponent. If they're a regular sized guy, they're not touching the mat.
Yeah, true.
Owen was too short to be doing pile driver.
Yeah. It's. I mean, I don't do modern wrestling really. Like, I don't. Like it's wrestling to me is all about nostalgia, and that's what I like about it. Like, I remember
when they start writing scripts, it took the fun out of it.
Yeah, I agree.
When they were let them ad lib and actually let the real stars rise to the top.
Totally. Yeah. A new generation was my favorite, but I did like Attitude Era a lot too. Like Golden Age and New Generation are kind of my jam. So I like Macho Man, I like the Rockers, I like the Heart Foundation, but I like DX and I like the Hardy Boys and Jericho and all those guys, right? So yeah.
All righty. Well, I think that's got everything answered on our question list, and I don't see any outstanding questions. If anybody's got any questions, ask them right quick. And
if not, you can always send me a DM. Like I said, I always love talking shop, so welcome to hit me up anytime. And love to chat about customs, love to chat about action figures, and excited to be able to share the 2 secret projects I have under my belt right now that I can't share. Particularly Summer Swap. I'm very excited about my Summer Swap figure to share. It was a pain in the ass to put together, but it was. I'm really, really happy with it. So.
Well, somebody asked about what would Glad to say. He's like, they already have a soundboard and stuff from this thing. They could have actually just incorporated it into it.
Yeah.
I am the devourer of
That sounds good.
Yeah.
You know how that breaks down over time, right? So,
of the power cosmic.
It's held up.
Yeah, that sounds great. I do love that new Galactus, though. He is really cool.
Oh, yeah.
I don't have him, but I mean, he is really cool.
Yeah, I don't know when that HasLab.
That was my first HasLab I back. So
yeah.
I'm a huge Cosmics fan. So same like you're an X-Men fan, and I'm a Cosmics fan.
Yes, yeah. I see Monkey Jeebus talking a bunch about like digital sculpting and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's something I would love to be able to do. I'm not quite there yet, but I would love to be able to.
Our friend Box of Cannons, he comes on our streams. We're kind of getting the whole gambit. We got traditional customizing on my end. We got soft goods with Don and Harker. Now you're getting 3D modeling with Box of Cannons. So we're kind of getting all the different aspects now.
The whole gauntlet, everything.
Yeah.
I'm just the eye candy of the group.
The Canadian eye candy. Come on.
Yeah, exactly.
Come on.
I'm the resident.
We got to have some Canadian representation on there.
That's right. You do. You need the nice guy of the group. That's how it is. You need someone to say sorry for stuff that's not his fault.
Yeah, I'm probably the worst for that.
It's an Italian Canadian, so it's like,
oh, okay, yeah.
You got to be nice.
Yeah, because you know what? Like a lot of times, people if they start to get on my nerves or whatever, I have to lay them one of these on.
What have I ever done to make you treat me so disrespectfully?
I love it.
Oh, and since you're here now, you can be part of.
Yeah.
Family. I don't have friends. I got family.
Oh, that's money. I love it.
It's like we was come up with the ideas like we did the Collector Express family shirt.
That's so good, you guys. I love it.
So, what's cool is the dude from like all the different impersonators, the main guy.
Yep.
He actually works with the movie. He contacted me.
Oh, really?
And he's following like on my Instagram account, and he actually went to my T Public store, and he asked like if he could get like a discount code to order like bulk of the family shirt.
Oh my god, that's amazing! Did
so
you ever get pictures of everyone wearing it?
I got a couple. Don Moore does the soft goods.
Yeah.
And one of the guys who's been on the stream before too, Jer. He bought one. He's up in Canada.
Quintesson Syndicate. You probably know him. He knows of you.
Who is it, sorry?
Quintesson Syndicate.
The name sounds familiar, yeah.
He's on Instagram. Yeah.
And yeah, a few of them, I need to get some orders. But I set up like a discount code now. So if you do like family 30, you can get 30% off in the store.
And
I
that's
love
about
that.
how many times they say family. So
I love it. That's so funny.
uh,
It's great. All right, guys. Well, thank you very much for having me on. This has been
Oh.
really fun. It's nice to get to chat about this with
oh, yeah, it's always a
like-minded
pleasure.
individuals as yourselves. So,
Absolutely. Thank you for coming on and talk,
Yes.
chatting with us. And
yeah, of course. Anytime.
Definitely,
Happy to do it. Maybe I
great
can join
stream.
you guys for one of your Whip Thursdays one night or something.
oh yeah,
yeah.
Be fun.
it might be. Thursdays. Yeah, you can come on anytime, too.
I'll let you know. I'll hit you up and we'll let you know.
Cool.
Awesome.
Hey, something wrong says welcome to the fam, Matchu.
I love it. I love it.
All right.
All right, guys.
Thank you again, everybody in the chat. Thank you for coming out, hanging out with us, and
Thank you all.
remember to do all that wonderful stuff. And be sure to go check out Matchew's. There's a link down below. All his socials. I got a link to his link tree down there. And
Yes, please. Yeah, and join me for Whip Wednesday Live on Wednesday nights. I just came back. Last week was the first show. And Wednesday next week, I think I'm going to start painting all these Paul Sun Young Lee heads that I have, these Carson Tata heads. So I'm probably start doing that on Wednesday. And then tonight, I also do a podcast on Saturday nights with my buddy Moose Milk Media. We talk about pop culture, whatever is relevant in the pop culture world. Tonight, we are talking about Evil Dead Rise. We watched that this week. So
Nice.
that's
some
I heard it's
gory,
very
dude.
gory.
Oh my god, so much blood. I mean, I guess it goes along with Evil Dead. Most of the Evil Dead movies are pretty bloody, but
Yeah.
this one was very, very bloody.
I heard that one of the explanations too, like why the Necronomicon looks different. If you follow Evil Dead, there's three
Yes.
volumes.
Yeah, they talk about that in this movie, so it's really cool. Start tying that whole universe together and having it make a little bit more sense, which is kind of cool. So, but this is kind of like the first one, I think, that's like fully serious. Like, there's no like funny, like, you know, like I know like the first one's kind of funny because it's like old and corny, but like this one is
Probably
very
goes along those lines that first reboot one.
Yeah. But this is like, yeah, it's definitely not for the faint of heart. It's pretty messed up. So lots of fun.
Well, thank you again.
Thank you,
And
guys.
We'll remember to do all that wonderful YouTube stuff. Like, share, comment, subscribe. And we'll catch y'all next time.
Take care.
See you, everybody.